everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. How is everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a fantastic day, or night, or evening, or morning, or whatever you want to call it. David, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Good. What's up with you?
Nothing. We're just chatting before you started about how there's so many things to cover that we can go live all day, every day, and never catch up.
Yeah, there is indeed. Alhamdulillah.
We'll try.
Yeah.
You stutter.
All right. Hope everybody else is doing well as well. How is everybody doing? Quickly tell me.
Why stuttering?
IP is talking to the Jews. Yeah, I know. I'm late because the Jews, they bombed my day. They destroyed my home. That's why I'm too late.
They bombed us.
As Farfour would say. That's so messed up.
That should be the new thing. hey, why are you guys late? The Jews bombed our house.
Yeah. I had to cheat because the Jews bombed my house. The Jews destroyed my notebook. That's why I had to cheat. Dude, that's so messed up.
People who didn't see yesterday's live stream are gonna have they're gonna think we're just being jerks.
Yeah, no, we're not being jerks. Maybe I should quickly caught cheating. I should quickly play that. This reminds me of that song "Wasn't Me." But
wasn't me. It was the Jews.
Was the Jews.
Hey, we should do a parody. It was the Jews.
Yeah. So here, Farfour is caught cheating in class, and then he blames it on the Jews. Here.
Oh boy.
The Jews bombed our home. I couldn't find my notebook because of the Jews.
And that was just the beginning of Farfour's problems because he got massacred by a Jewish dude.
Yeah,
he had the special document and the key from his uncle. No, his grandfather, who was human. Weirdly enough. Anyway,
and we all know who was playing the sound of this guy.
We're proud of that.
Yeah. So anyway, now we want to review a conversation between Douglas Murray and what's his name, Piers Morgan. And so I saw a tweet earlier today. Well, Piers Morgan, I think, or was it yesterday? I'm not entirely sure. Piers Morgan was responding to somebody who posted a clip from this conversation saying, I have rarely seen Piers lost for words. And Piers Morgan then said in response to that, well, Douglas made a very good point.
Huh. That's interesting. I haven't said I watched like the first 2 minutes of this and I was like, we'll be covering this live at some point, so I could just watch it then. But I mean, all I was thinking of this is like the battle of the fancy British accents, you know what I mean? Like if you tossed Richard Dawkins right in the middle of them, it would be like all of them. It would be like the greatest intelligent sounding British accents assembled on one show. Yeah.
So here it says you don't see Piers Morgan lost for words much, and Piers then said Douglas made a very good point.
Interesting.
So he's impressed. He says,
wait. Did Douglas Murray reply with, "Why are you stuttering?"
Probably. I can't see that right now though.
Why are you stuttering?
Why? Yeah, why? But Piers, why are you stuttering?
Why are you stuttering?
Why would you be
stuttering? Why, Piers?
Why would you do that?
I have to figure out what his accent is.
Yeah. Oh, Cristiano Ronaldo again. Oh, that was a year ago. Okay.
Yay!
Anyway, Douglas Murray.
Cristiano Ronaldo plays soccer. I learned that. I learned who he was. Here, all people.
Oh my! Did you hear this? I just saw this right before I've
seen everyone sharing it, and I know he is praising Hitler or something like that because I could tell from the descriptions. But no, I haven't seen it.
This guy's in London. This is the UK. What he's saying here is actually criminal.
Surrounded by a bunch of British people who think they're on the same side.
By a bunch of British white people. Let's look at this.
If the West feels so sorry for the Israeli Zionists, why don't they give a place in Germany? Why don't you go to Hitler's back garden and make an occupation there? Then they will know what kind of people these are. Why every so many 100 years the Zionists get slaughtered? Because Hitler knew how to deal with these people. They probably made a program so they can create a state of Israel in the expense of Palestinian Muslims' blood.
Did you hear that?
Yep.
Hitler knew these people. That's why he slaughtered them. That's why they get slaughtered every now and then. This guy is in the UK, is in London. The things he said right now are not. He's not allowed to say these things in the UK.
Mhm.
This is a criminal offense. So
What's crazy is if you press this guy and started asking him more questions, like, hey, what are your long-term plans of your community here for the Ukraine? We're gonna keep multiplying until we take it over and subjugate them and enslave their wives and make them our sex slaves, and we slaughter all the men and enslave their children. It's like,
that's the irony. Look, it sounds very problematic when you go into it, but people, especially the Islamist kind of people, they say that they share these conspiracy theories about the Jews, which the Nazis had, which Hitler had. Hitler, for example, rationalized his whole genocide of Jews by saying that there is a greater conspiracy by which the Jews are trying to take over all of Europe and basically, like enslave the European white people and undermine society and overthrow everything that is good, which is why he justified deporting them and then in the end slaughtering them. These guys seemingly agree with that, but the irony of all of that is that these same guys who do agree with that are the ones who actually believe and openly say that they want to undermine this society and change it fundamentally, overthrow things, and impose their own values. So,
yeah, and that's why I've mentioned this before, but Douglas Murray said in his interview on trigonometry, he quoted someone else who said, "Tell me what you're accusing the Jews of, and I'll tell you what you're actually doing." It's like people keep accusing the Jews, but notice it's Muslims accusing Jews of moving into a territory, multiplying and taking it over and forcing everyone out.
Yeah,
which is how Islam has operated for 14 centuries. I mean, that's the story of Medina. That's how far back this goes.
It is. And you know what's very funny? I'm not sure if I find it funny, but it's funny. Look at this, for example. Look at this graph here by Statista. You see the growth of population in the Palestinian territories. Here is the blue one is Israel. The green one is Palestinian population. It just steadily continues going up, higher and higher and higher. But we are told today, right now, that Israel has been genociding the Palestinians for decades. Does this look like genociding to anybody?
Yeah, their population has quintupled, and that would, yeah, you got a slam dunk case for Israelis being the worst genociders of all time.
Terrible people, not a horrible job at doing a genocide, completely incompetent, can't trust them at all. Like, how can you be so bad at something? You don't want to see what genocide actually looks like. If you if you look at graphs, this is what genocide actually looks like. This is the population of Rwanda. This is what happened. This is what happened to the population during the genocide in Rwanda. It goes up and then suddenly.
Huh? What caused it to drop? Oh, the 1994 genocide. All right.
Oh yeah. That's what genocide really looks like. Not this. Anyway. But enough talk about genocide. Let's come to Douglas Murray and the
battle of the impressive accents.
Yeah. And yeah, also, of course, the irony there is that the other side, the Palestinian authorities and their leaderships openly preach and believe in genociding the Jews while complaining about genocide. So,
yeah, it is wild.
Yeah.
By the way, is there a smarter sounding British a smarter sounding accent than the smart British accent?
No.
It's interesting because some of the other accents are some of the other British accents are among the dumbest sounding in the world, and yet they also simultaneously have the smartest sounding. You could say absolutely anything with a smart British accent.
Bugger off, mate.
Yeah.
It's bollocks.
Oh, hey, governor. Gonna bloody wet myself. Blah blah blah. Sound like the dumbest. I'm from West Virginia, like hillbillies all over, and I'm sitting there listening when I'm a kid, listening to oh hey governor, like these guys sound like morons.
Well, I'm joined now by Douglas Murray, who's on the Gaza border. Douglas, let me ask you first of all, why have you felt the need to go there?
Well, I've covered every
He's on vacation.
Israeli conflict since the 2006 Lebanon war. I've covered lots of other conflicts as well. And this one is obviously an incredibly important conflict. It's one that is going to be crucial, not just for Israel, but for the region. And I like to see these things firsthand, as you know, Piers.
I do. And I've read your stuff for many years about these kind of conflicts. Let me ask you, what's your feeling on the ground there? I know you've been with some of the IDF. What is your feeling about the motivation for this war from the Israeli side? Is it revenge? Is it something different? What are you picking up?
Well, it's not revenge. I mean, I think the most obvious thing is I spent part of today at the kibbutz of near Oz. This is a kibbutz right down the road from here by the Gaza border, where there are about 400 residents. 80 of them.
I think he's right at the border. He's like right at the Gaza border. Not sure. Is that behind him or is that in front of him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you just specify the directions?
We'd have to pan around to see.
Yeah.
Were kidnapped on the 7th of October, and another 30 to 40 were murdered. And I went through the remains of their houses, saw all the blood spattered walls, and went through the charred remains of that village, that community. That was just one of the massacre sites. I went earlier past the massacre site of what you'll remember is there was a music festival, also near the Gaza border, which was taking place where so many hundreds of young people were having a rave and then were massacred, raped, mutilated, and again kidnapped and taken through the border into Gaza. So
yeah, we by the way, we have still a lot of people who say that who deny that stuff like that happened. Although we have clear footage of it, we have video footage of people doing all the killing, the targeted killing, of mistreating their victims. We have the remains. We have so many statements, so many testimonies. We have statements from the interrogated Hamas terrorists. But there are people right now who are Hamas defenders who say, no, they didn't do anything bad. They didn't target civilians. And this just it's a clear indication of how people are willing to deny any atrocity immediately.
Yeah, I've seen the video footage that shows that it was actually IDF Apache helicopters that were shooting all the people. You saw that, right? It got piles and piles of likes and shares, so it must be correct.
And yeah, one of the stupid things about it is that people who spread that conspiracy theory, they take a specific footage, a specific image, and say, "Look at this car; it is brutally destroyed. How can Hamas even do this? How can Hamas even be capable of this? You know, like they can shoot at it, they can burn it, but they cannot deform it like this." But the funny thing is, when you actually zoom out and look at all the vehicles, most vehicles look completely fine. Just shot and glasses broken, and holes visible here and there. But so, what that tells you is that the people who make these conspiracy theories and who then justify those conspiracy theories with their evidence, they are lying. They're clearly lying, and I'm not sure if they're lying to themselves too, or if they are just lying to everybody else, but they're lying. And this is how it starts. It is known that people deny things like the Holocaust, for example, but to deny something like this that happened in front of everybody's eyes, I don't know, man.
You see the remnants of that appalling day everywhere around here. It's very hard to find a family anywhere in Israel that hasn't been directly or very closely related to the atrocities of that day. 1,400 civilians slaughtered in one day and thousands more injured is the sort of thing that that will have an effect on any society, it would be roughly comparative to, say, 20,000 people being killed in our own country. So it's a massive thing. It's a massive blow in Israel. The whole nation has felt it. And of course, people know that there needs to be an answer to this. And I think that's, well, you can hear behind me as I'm speaking some of that answer, the crump of artillery shells. And
You can barely hear it. If I listen very closely, I hear like a little bass sound, like. But
I mean, he's speaking into a microphone, so what he hears with his ears off in the distance, the microphone is designed not to pick up a ton of that stuff. Oh, but by the way, as you're talking about conspiracy theories and so on, the conspiracy theories increase based on how little you trust whoever is speaking. In other words, once you've decided that you can't trust Jews are all liars, and it's everything is a Jewish conspiracy. Then when Jews say, hey, 1,500 people were killed, it's a bunch of civilians. How do you believe that from people that you have already decided ahead of time are complete liars?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore you'll go with any conspiracy rather than believe anything they're saying. And so it's kind of, notice how it just snowballs, right? You go over there, Hamas goes over there, kills a bunch of people, GoPros it, brags about it, is proud of it, and then a few days later, nope, it's all a Jewish conspiracy. Why do you think it's a Jewish conspiracy? Because it's the Jews.
The Jews, they always lie.
Jews.
They always lie. Everything they do is a lie. That's it, man. That's it. Here is what I'm talking about. Like, there's footage. There are tweets that were retweeted like so many thousands of times and liked by so many people, including by this insane person who is a disinformation agent for the Syrian government. She shared one of these conspiracy theories, and I will show you that here in a second. But this is the extent of stupidity that these people rely on, and the extent of dishonesty that these people engage in. Like this woman here, Syrian girl, she says, Israel admits Apache helicopter fired on their own civilians running from the Supernova Music Festival, breaking. Of course, since people only like to read this and say, what? And of course, when you attach a quote to it, it makes it even more credible. People immediately liked and retweeted it. The quote is completely made up. It doesn't appear in any report. It has no source at all. Nothing. It's completely made up. But here, it has 27 million views. 27 million views. 139,000 likes. And the community notes are still pending. So it looks like the community note system is not really working very well. It can't prevent massive disinformation campaigns like this. And it makes up a quote. It then links to Middle East Monitor, which is a very Palestine-biased website that often posts misinformation. That then links to Gray Zone, which is a far-left conspiracy theory website, and so on. And look, it says something like this. This is why we saw images of burned people inside their cars. Obviously, a gun does not make this damage, but an Israeli Apache helicopter does. Israel showed these images to journalists to justify their genocide in Gaza. And then she shows these cars that were taken away, carried, but she doesn't ever get to the original footage and show what we all could see immediately after the event, which is this. Now, does this look like anything she just described? It doesn't. Most of these cars are completely intact. They just have their windshields shot in and broken. And that's it. This is how dishonest people are. But it's too late now. Already thousands of people, maybe millions around the world, already believe this stupid conspiracy theory because it was spread on Twitter. Insane, man. I don't know. This makes me think I should start a whole anti-conspiracy theory channel. Yeah.
Missiles from the air, it seems. And you can see some of that rising over the border behind me.
You talked about proportionality in this conflict being absurd. I've talked a lot about what is proportionate, and I struggle to think of what a proportionate response is to the barbarism of those terror attacks. You know, there is a view, and maybe you share this view, but there is a view, I think Ben Shapiro said this to me when I interviewed him, that there should be no limit on the response that Israel has. It's not about proportion. It's not about you kill one of us, we kill one of you. This is about a war specifically designed to eliminate Hamas, and they will do what it takes.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I mean, remember that one of the heads of Hamas said only a few days ago from the comfort of his foreign residence, because remember, the heads of Hamas don't live among their peoples. They've been made billionaires by taking in international aid for years now. But one of the heads of Hamas said the other day, we will
It's funny how he mocks them.
keep doing it over the 7th again and again and again. So there's a realization in Israel, I think, that this is just unlivable. You can't have a situation where
This is true. I showed footage of that, of Hamas leader basically saying we are proud of this, and
We're proud of that.
and we'll do it again and again and again. October 7, October 10, October 17, October 1 million. We will just do it forever until Israel is completely destroyed. And he also said we are proud to sacrifice our own people because we are a nation of martyrs, and that's what martyrs do. So he's proud that his own population dies as a result of the terrorist activities.
And it's just insane that, I mean, Piers keeps coming back to this proportionate nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, again, I understand why that makes sense to some people who don't know anything about war and who haven't thought through this. They think, oh, they killed this number of your people, therefore you go kill that number of their people, and then you're even Steven. And so I understand why that's appealing to people who haven't thought through this and say, okay, the goal, if someone kills a bunch of your people, is not to even the score. The goal is to stop them from doing it again. So how do you stop them from doing this again? That's the question. Well, Israel has decided they've got to crush Hamas. They have to crush Hamas. That's how they prevent Hamas from doing this attack again. But Piers just presents that as like, some sort of weird theory by Ben Shapiro and possibly by Douglas Murray. Like, hey, everyone else says you have, it's proportionate. And but Ben Shapiro says you might want to go further than that. It's like, what are you talking about?
No,
that has never been a theory of war up until Israel, up until they started saying it about Israel.
No, David. If Hamas killed 100 people, if Hamas killed 103,059 people, then Israel must respond to this only by killing 1,359 people. If they accidentally kill one more person and make it 1,360, then that means Israel is engaging in war crimes and must be punished and stopped immediately. This is how it works. Of course, this doesn't apply to any other country, only to Israel.
Yeah. Now, notice again, it's what people are saying is supposed to be how war works. That's a recipe for just an endless war. That's what it is. Again, if so, the Japanese sink 19 ships at Pearl Harbor. If the United States had responded, oh, okay, we'll go blow up 19 of their ships, and then the Japanese do something else and they blow up a certain number, and then the U.S. responds with an equal number, and then and you just go back and forth forever, and that's how things end up like in Afghanistan, where you don't actually go in and crush the enemy. You just kind of, oh, okay, let's kind of hold this line for a while, and other groups know they can wear you down eventually. So no, it seems more brutal to just go in and crush people than to do it in this long, slow, drawn out thing. In the long run, it's I don't know. It seems less brutal to actually get it over with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like just ripping off a bandage. Got to do something. Got to make hard decisions sometimes to avoid an endless series of terrorist attack, our response, terrorist attack, our response, terrorist attack, our response. How about crushing the terrorists? How about just crushing them?
People have this whole thing. People seem to somehow because people like to be, or people tend to be very short-sighted. They have this whole myopic idea of they think, oh wait a minute, there's a lot of fighting going on right now. Lots of people are dying. No, we need ceasefire now, immediately, quickly. As soon as it emerges, they ask for ceasefire. Of course, as soon as Israel responds, that's when they ask for ceasefire. And they somehow think that asking for ceasefire now will, of course, lead to less suffering. That's not true. I mean, anybody who has a little bit of an understanding of this conflict knows that that a ceasefire now will mean another attack, bigger attack, quite soon at the next opportunity, as Hamas already announced. And there will be more suffering, and there will be more response. There will be again terrorist attacks, and there will be another response, and they will keep asking for ceasefire, over and over again. No, the best solution, as it seems, especially after such a brutal attack by these savages, is to go in, finish them, not leave a possibility for Hamas to ever organize such attacks ever again. And then the suffering will be over. It will be done. Sorry, you don't like it maybe, but that's how war works. That's how it works. Israel tried different things in the past, like ruling over them and occupying the Gaza Strip and keeping it as an autonomous territory. Didn't work. They tried giving it away. Didn't work. They tried expelling the problematic ones. That was even worse. What happened with that is they expelled a lot of terrorists and their collaborators to Lebanon, for example. What happened as a result is that those people formed terrorist organizations and terrorist cells in Lebanon and formed an alliance with Hezbollah, which all then came back decades later in form of massive violence, which dragged everyone into a war. It's how do you solve this? It doesn't just work by saying ceasefire now. Ismi Amy said, guys, I found Farfour's widow in Gaza. Here's the proof. Why is it not letting me send the link? Tell me how, please. You can't send links. I'm sorry. I think it doesn't work. I think it doesn't work, but it might also be the fault of the Jews. That's what we all blame everything on nowadays. All right.
A neighbor who won the election in 2006 after Israel withdrew from the Gaza, promptly killed their fellow Palestinians, the Fatah members in the Gaza, threw them off buildings and shot them in the back. So Hamas has been ruling Gaza for all the last 1.5 decades. It has spent all the international aid money and much more that has come into it on its own infrastructure.
BAP one shot said continue the video AP. No, I'm not continuing. I'm going to pause it just because of you now.
Yeah, let's just chat for an hour now.
Infrastructure of terror tunnels, its infrastructure of rockets and other munitions to throw at Israel, and then, of course, in enriching its leaders. The place you see behind me could be Singapore by now, and there's a reason it isn't, and it's the leadership of Hamas. And so, I think that it is something that people have to realize, that this is not a situation which is sustainable for Israel. And yes, the Israeli government is going to be doing whatever it needs to do to fulfill its objective of ridding the Gaza of Hamas. How easy or difficult a job that is another question, but it's something that is going on as we speak.
But in terms of the moral quandary which I've been feeling, and it's not about...
That's the thing, right? Hamas has gotten in a massive influx of funds forever. What they could have done with all of that is to build something and spend it all on education. What did they spend it on over the decades? They spent it on luxury for their leaders, rockets for their terrorist organizations, and propaganda like Farfour. So this is what they do.
I mean, if you look at it, I mean, it seemed like a pretty modern place, even without them using all this aid money to build up the place. I mean, apart from the stuff that gets bombed, it seemed like I don't know. It didn't. I've lived in worse places than what Gaza looked like. Again, apart from the bombing. And so it's like, wait, if you'd been actually taking all this aid money and investing into your community there, what would it be like? And would Israel be bombing you? No, you would have your own state. You'd have everything that Westerners are saying you should want. You'd have a 2-state solution. You'd have it all if you quit taking all your aid money and spending it on attacking Israel.
Yeah.
And somehow it's Israel's fault that these guys take all their aid money, spend it on attacking Israel, attack Israel, and then get blown to bits.
It is always Israel's fault. They give all the money to Farfour. All the aid they get, they give it all to Farfour, and this is what we get.
They should have a video of Farfour driving a Lamborghini.
Well, wanting to eliminate Hamas. I completely agree with that mission statement. And certainly there's no chance of any peace when you have a terror group in charge of Gaza in the way that they've now completely established themselves to be, with no limits and just a desire to eradicate Israel and as many Jewish people as they can kill. So it's park that to one side. I concur with the mission statement. But it is incredibly difficult, just on a human level, to see, because we know the civilian population in Gaza is half children, to see the sheer numbers of...
But why? Wait a minute, I think he's going to get into that.
Kids who are being killed by the Israeli onslaught that's come back against Hamas. What do you feel about that on a human level? What should we all be feeling about that?
The first thing is, should those deaths really be attributed to the Israeli side? We saw the other day, the BBC and other media reported that the people who were lying dead on the street on one of the main routes through Gaza was alleged to be a massacre carried out by Israelis. It turned out it wasn't the case at all. It was Hamas massacring Palestinians fleeing south, as the Israelis had recommended they do.
Oh yeah, that happened, by the way. And guess what? Everyone forgot about it. Everyone forgot about it.
That happened?
Why? Because it wasn't Israel, because it was Hamas. So everyone was quickly, okay, let's not talk about that one. Let's go for the next thing that Israel did.
And then you've got the people like me who I see stuff and then I just don't even pay any attention to it because I don't know what to trust anymore, right? Because there's so much stuff saying, this is this and this is that, and it turns out it's not. It's someone misrepresenting something, and so I don't even pay much attention to it anymore. But you're saying that's authentic stuff.
Yeah, it is. It was, unless there's some major update on that. That's the last thing that I knew about it, which is that there were a bunch of bodies laying on the streets, and reports that Hamas was shooting people who run south because they didn't want it. And that, at first, it was reported as a possible airstrike, but then, of course, upon the first glance, it turned out that there are no signs of an airstrike at all. There is no crater. There is no explosion. The bodies are very separate from each other, very far apart. Looks like they were shot from the back while running. So, but then we haven't heard much about it after that.
So the question, in a way that you ask, I would say there's an answer to, which is who exactly is responsible for these deaths? If you do, as Hamas does, decide to build bunkers and put rockets on them and then put hospitals on top of them, who exactly is responsible for that? Is it the Israelis in their response, or is it Hamas for doing that? If you do decide, as Hamas has done, to use all of these billions of dollars of international aid to build tunnels where you can hide, among other things, the kidnapped Israelis, who's responsible for the strikes that happen as a result and any civilian deaths? Is it the Israelis, or is it Hamas, who has been holding the Palestinian peoples of the Gaza hostage for the last 15 years and more? Again, I repeat this point. A lot of what has been said about this seems to suggest that Hamas has no responsibility for this. If you went into your neighbor's house.
Stardust said, "Where is the evidence that Hamas killed their own people, Mr. AP?" So that's what I remember from the last thing that I read about it, and the evidence was mostly that it was Hamas, and there were citizens, there were Gazans calling in and reporting that Hamas is shooting at them. And there was no evidence that it was Israel. Israel was neither there nor were they targeting the place. So there were no signs of explosions or anything. Yeah.
Ransacked it, raped your neighbors, killed some of them, took others into captivity, and then somebody said, that's not on, I'm going to do something in retaliation to that. You would bear the cost of that. You'd bear the price for that. The Israelis have the right to respond to such an atrocity. And I'm rather surprised, or at least I'm not surprised in a way, I'm disappointed as ever by the number of commentators in the UK and elsewhere who always use times like this to say things like, we've got to this is a time for judicious voices. This is a time for calm and much more. I do always wonder if those people would say the same or feel the same if it was a bit closer to their own home. If it wasn't a kibbutz down the road, like the one I was in earlier.
Hold up here. What is this? IDF releases an audio recording of an officer in the Military Intelligence Directorate's Unit 504, which specializes in human, speaking to a Gazan man, during which he describes how Hamas is preventing people from evacuating from the northern part of the Gaza Strip. Of course, people can't trust this because it's Israel.
No, of course. That's the problem. If you can't trust anything, who in the Dawa community would trust this for a second?
Yeah.
Nothing. It's all staged.
محمد
الو
كيفك؟
ايوه
بحكي معك ضابط عن الاندفاع
That hurts my ears.
الإسرائيلي.
Yeah, it's terrible.
أنا عشان أملك سلامتك بدي تنزل ضروري لاتجاه خان يونس.
لوين؟
لاتجاه خان يونس ضروري. أنا بديش تحاطر حالك فمن هيك بدي تنزل لاتجاه الجنوب لاتجاه خان يونس.
نفكر كل الطرق طيب.
يا عمي محل ما أنت موجود فيه خطر. أنت لازم وين سكر الطريق؟ حماس؟
Where is the road blocked? Hamas? Yes. Hamas blocks the road.
إيش؟
ايوه صحيح.
Robot voice. All the kids love the robot voice.
This is such poor quality. What are they talking on? I'm really wondering.
No, they deliberately distort the IDF guy's voice so that he can't be recognized later.
Yeah, but even the caller's voice is very.
It's a phone call. What are you expecting, man?
I don't know, man.
Guy's probably got his iPhone right here, and he's got this. He's recording on his other iPhone and stuff. Fucking perfect audio, man. Hey, that should be the response. It should be like, okay, if the IDF were faking this, don't you think they'd come up with better quality?
Yeah.
But
the
IDF,
IDF,
the same guys who control.
That's what the IDF wants you to think.
All of Hollywood.
No, but that's what the IDF wants you to think.
Yeah. So, hey, yes, we could make this a huge, big budget Hollywood thing, but we want it to be realistic, so we'll use really crappy stuff. Yes, exactly. But they would know that you would do that. They would know that you're going to do that, and therefore they would want to make it as good as possible.
Wait a minute, stop talking, man. They're saying something important here. How did how did they block the road, sending everyone back home? Are they placing cars there? The police? Yes. How exactly? Did you see this with your own eyes? In a car, people go there and they are simply sent back to their homes. Oh, here. How did they block the road? Explain it to me.
كيف هم سكروا الطريق؟ فهمني.
يعني كيف بتلاقي ناس
هم يطلقوا نار على الناس اللي بدهم ينزلوا؟
ايوه
So that is a recording. The guy says they're shooting at people. And what happened, by the way, which we can all see now, the IDF actually established a safe evacuation corridor through which people have been evacuating. But yeah, of course, genocide, man. That's genocide.
That had been attacked, but village after village in the south of England. I don't think we'd be hearing those same voices. I think there's a very particular standard that the Israelis are held to. I think it's an unfair standard. It's an unequal standard. It's an intolerable standard for the Israelis. But when people say, you've just got to sort of live with this, the Israelis quite rightly will be saying, well, we don't see quite why we do. The comparison between Hamas and the Nazis is insufficient. And sorry, there's an incoming.
Wait, why are they showing this now? This happened much later, didn't it?
Yeah, how'd it get dark all of a sudden? Look at this guy. You see? This all
I don't
done
know.
in the studio.
This is spoiling.
Incoming.
It's a studio.
Why did they do this?
Why?
Stop ruining it, man. That happened much later here. I know this. For those who missed
you
it,
can tell because the sun is setting, and that's why I figured that the back was Gaza, and then he confirmed.
Maybe
it,
the sun came back
going down the background.
But maybe the sun came back.
No. They played for the exciting moment. They put that. Sometimes you want to put the exciting moment.
No. What
early.
happened is the sun went away.
Look, it's getting dark later.
Okay, but the sun came back.
It didn't. The sun goes in a muddy pool. Why don't you learn anything? By the way, why did he run? That would have been a perfect opportunity to put his arms up in the air and go, yeah, come get me, come get me.
Results
cowards!
In Israel a few weeks ago. But having watched the videos of the unedited footage, which I was one of the journalists was sadly allowed to see the other day, I can tell you one thing. The comparison between Hamas and the Nazis is insufficient. And sorry, there's an incoming.
Look at him.
Get safe.
Do you hear the rocket?
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if a rocket hit him? You see, this is what happens when you stand against the Hawk and the Hekma, the Hawk and the Hekma.
Yeah, this was actually a truth bomb coming, but it couldn't drop.
Incoming. The Nazis is
Douglas Murray gets hit with a truth bomb.
Yeah,
incoming.
that's messed up. Man.
Get safe, Douglas.
I think they have a shelter right next to where they are recording. So
Yeah, they probably do.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I saw this clip as soon as this happened. As soon as this was streamed or broadcast, you could see tweets and posts of people saying, "You see how scared he is." Whereas this other person who is a Palestinian or who is an Arab who recorded something at some other time, he was not scared. He didn't run to hide. Like, what kind of idiotic mindset is that? Like, it's like, apparently it's humiliating. It's gay. It's weak to look out for your safety, to get out of the way when a rocket comes and could possibly hit you. You're supposed to stand there and possibly die. That's what makes you a man. That's what makes you a reliable, good person.
Yep. That's why that's why all the Dawa guys go out and join the jihad.
Yeah.
Oh no, they don't. They sit at home in front of their computers because they long for war.
But no, they join in their hearts.
Yeah, we fight with our hearts.
Here in London on Saturday. Do you think it should go ahead?
Well, my own view is that it shouldn't, and it shouldn't because
What should go ahead? What are you saying?
Promised to stay here in London on Saturday marches, and specifically the one planned for Armistice Day here
talking about the march
on Saturday. Okay. Do you think it should go ahead?
Well, my own view is that it shouldn't, and it shouldn't because it's not because it should be banned, but because it's a grotesque insult to the British people. It's a deliberately provocative day to choose for such a march. It's a deliberate.
Oh, that is happening right now, by the way, right? Oh, that happened today or yesterday or whatever. The day that is now over, and there were.
That's when they do That's when they do the poppies or whatever, right? Something like that.
Yeah. There were 300,000 people marching apparently in London. And lots of provocations happened. And of course, this will completely change the mind of Israel. And Israel will be like, oh, you know what? After these people rallied over there in London, we have decided to do a ceasefire. Guess what? Won't happen.
Provocative march. As the Telegraph showed just yesterday, around half of the organizers of the march are themselves linked with Hamas, which isn't at all surprising. We have Hamas commanders, after all, who live in London very safely, often on welfare. So, yes, I think it's an intolerable march. It's intolerable provocation to the British public and the British government and the British police, by the way, who Saturday after Saturday have been made to put up with unbelievable taunting and abuse from the marchers. It's very clear by now, Piers, that what is happening is that every week the crowds are pushing and seeing if they can push the police further and further, harder and harder, and be more and more provocative. And they're managing to do that. But this is culminating this weekend. And here's the thing. I don't think, and I certainly read and hear, that large numbers of the British public are just not going to put up with this.
This is such Hamasophobic speech. It's disgusting. Almost.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Absolutely.
Anti-Hamas bigotry. So he's saying that people will be upset by this and they will not endure this much longer. I believe I saw reports earlier of some right-wing or patriotic protests in the UK, and the police were actually stopping and arresting them. Which they couldn't do, with all the terrorism supporting, Hamas supporting, jihadists supporting protesters that were going around and waving their ISIS flags and their Al Qaeda flags and their Hamas flags and all that. They couldn't stop all of that, but they actually did stop and arrest people who were saying no to that. I think that's what happened, right?
Yeah, I think he's right though. I don't think it's going to last. I don't think people are going to put up with it forever. I think people are going to get sick of it. It might be interesting. Matter of fact, I could probably take care of that. I'll go to the march. I'll dress up like a jihadi, and I'll go to the head of the march, and I'll say, "All right, follow me, everyone. Let's go!" And everyone will just follow me, and I'll march them all right onto a big boat. You just sail them right down to Gaza.
Alhamdulillah.
Boom, problem solved. Then all the
Alhamdulillah.
people who are supporting Gaza can support Gaza directly.
Oh, this is, by the way, footage of report and footage of people in Gaza fleeing south under the guidance of the Israeli Defense Forces of the IDF in a safe corridor. Because prior to that, they were scared to go south.
Yeah,
And that
and
means that
guys,
Israel is
this
bad
is
at first.
this is still very, very easy to settle. Get the women and kids to safe spots, preferably across the border or at least in the south, and Hamas surrenders and hands over the hostages. Done. It's done. Problem solved. How is that not on the table? You're getting crushed. The goal of, your goal as Israel is to have the enemy surrender, just like the goal in World War II was for the Nazis to surrender. You fight them until they surrender, and then you can make conditions that keep them from ever doing that to you again.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple.
Inshallah.
How is Hamas surrendering not on the table as far as what people are arguing should be the case? They went and massacred a bunch of people. They're terrorists. They're terrorists. And the entire world should be calling on them to surrender. That's it. That's the only path forward. You're Hamas-phobic.
Pick you up on that.
Diverted away from Whitehall, but
Right, but let me pick you up on that because it's interesting because you, like me, have been very vocal, and passionate defender of free speech, and we know that includes that, that you have to accept that other people you may vehemently disagree with have a right to free speech. Christopher Hitchens, someone that you and I both admire.
This isn't this.
No, I'm going to come to my question. But Christopher Hitchens said the only thing that should be upheld at all costs and without qualification is the right of free expression, because if that goes, then so do all other claims of right as well. Now, what was interesting to me, I've been on a bit of a journey this week about what I really think about this, and Nicholas Soames actually said something that really made me sit up and take notice and change my mind about it, actually, because he's Churchill's grandson. He's a conservative. And he said strongly yesterday that he thinks the march should be allowed to go ahead because the very freedoms that the people on Armistice Day who we honour, who gave their lives in the wars, they did so to preserve the freedoms of people like those marchers, the ones who are not being violent, the ones who are not showing pro-Hamas stuff.
What a discussion, man. But,
And by the way, Douglas didn't even say it should be illegal or something like that. You should just say you shouldn't do it because it's horrible. He's saying you shouldn't be doing that because it's horrible. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. Look at this. Look at this stuff. This is the kind of stuff that people are posting, who just want to give people this whole idea of Israel is causing massacres. Now, what happened? Let's see. 1948, Israel declared independence during a civil war started by the Arabs, upon which the Arabs declared war on Israel, and Israel kicked their butts and took much more than they were supposed to take. 1956, Egypt closed the Suez Canal, which was until that point a neutral international canal, and which was perceived as a provocation, upon which Israel attacked and took over and opened it again.
Winning.
And they occupied the Sinai Peninsula, but then
winning
got back out of it because people didn't like it.
Still winning.
Israel did it in 1967. 1967 is very funny. That is the 6-Day War. That is when Egypt, Jordan, and Syria were openly and secretly conspiring to wage war in Israel. We're deploying armies, we're making mutual pacts, and were Egypt once again provoked by closing the Straits of Tiran, I believe, to Israel. Israel, perceiving all of these things, made a preemptive strike and kicked their butts once again in 6 days.
Winning.
1982. What happened in 1982? 1982 was Lebanon.
I don't know, but I think it's winning.
Lebanon. What happened was that from South Lebanon, terrorist activity was very heavily increased, upon which Israel, since it didn't stop, invaded southern Lebanon, which caused the Lebanon War. That's what happened.
All they do is win, 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 win.
2002 was during the Second Intifada, which was the bloodiest uprising from the Palestinian side. So not sure what exactly Israel did here. 2008 was what was 2008? 2008 was the first. This is insane. 2008 Gaza war. This is so stupid. Why? What exactly did? 2008 is the Gaza war. 2008. This is after Hamas takes over and increasingly attacks and provokes Israel, and suddenly fires heavy, amounts of rockets into Israel. Upon which Israel says, "You know what? Screw this. We're going in." What exactly did Israel do here?
I think they won.
Man,
Hey, is this where Charlie Sheen is from? It seems like an entire nation of Charlie Sheens
I don't know.
who can't stop winning against
Probably
the surrounding Arabs.
What was 2014? 2014 was Israel.
That's Charlie
2015.
Sheen. That was Charlie Sheen.
Oh, that was another Gaza war. That was an operation which Israel initiated because 3 teenagers were kidnapped and killed, Israeli teenagers, tied to Hamas. 2021 was again an escalation of things because of Al-Aqsa. 2023 is now. So people post these things, and this one has like 4,000 likes, and they're like, Israel did it then, Israel did it then, Israel did it then, like basically accusing Israel of committing massacres or violating things and all of that. But I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me what exactly is it that happened here which makes Israel very, very bad. I don't get it. What it looks like is that Israel just responded and won every single time, and these people are just crying and accusing Israel of being bad now because they lost. That's what it looks like. I'm sorry. Come and say this is propaganda, but that's just all I see here.
Yeah, this goes back to what Douglas was saying the other day when we were watching him, where he's talking about psychologically, we're the greatest of peoples according to the Quran. We've got the final revelation. We've got the final prophet. We've got all knowledge that we need. It's all in our book. Everyone else is inferior to us, and all you do is freaking lose to like this tiny little group that your prophet told you to exterminate. Like it's got to mess with your mind permanently, and all you do is like whine, and we're the victims. We 2 billion people are victims of this 15 million people group. Even though we've got the final revelation, the final prophet, and Allah has blessed us with everything we need, and our 2 billion people can't do anything against this little 15 million people group.
Yeah,
gosh, that's gotta suck.
Hey, wait a minute. This is a funny fact. This is a funny fact to point out. Where is this? Farfour said, I think 1973 was left out intentionally. That's funny. I didn't even notice.
Interesting point.
That's the Yom Kippur War, where the Arabs did a surprise attack on a holy day for Israel, which is similar to what happened now, this year, and where Israel completely destroyed them in response. So
and the Jews did it in 629 when they poisoned Muhammad. They poisoned him. Unprovoked attack when a bunch of Jews got slaughtered at Khaybar. But look what they did. They poisoned the prophet.
Like, that's very funny, man. Very, very funny.
I'm sure about
that. Do they have a right to protest?
Well, we'll try to single those two things out for a second. First of all, I don't regard Nicholas Soames as a sort of hereditary inheritor of the mantle of Churchill just because he happens to be his grandson.
Good point.
Christopher, he would never have said that right extended to supporting terror groups. I mean, we're in a total quandary in the UK, as you know, and it's a despicable quandary to be in. We host Hamas leaders. We have a former deputy prime minister of Iran living in Harrow. We've been at the center of allowing these people to be in our country and indeed to plot terror from our country for years. So it's always a bit rich to hear the British, I think, lecturing others about being an unsound part of the international security community.
Whoa. This is very, very...
For the actual marches, look, I'm afraid that the rules on this are very, very clear. You are not allowed to glorify terror or call for terror on the streets of Britain. And that existed before the 2006 Terrorism Act banned glorification.
Yeah, this is a little bit strange to some people who are, I guess, in America, where free speech is very, very, very free in comparison. But in most of these countries in the West, in Europe, these are things that are that cross the line. You can't advocate for terrorist organizations. You can't wave the flags. You can't repeat these slogans. You can't glorify things like the Holocaust.
Or in some of the countries, like, you can't deny the Holocaust. You can't. There are places where you can't have Hitler's Mein Kampf, and so it's very strange to an American where there are few restrictions. I have to point out, though, because you see this coming out right now. You got Piers Morgan saying, "Hey, wait a minute! If we really celebrate freedom of speech, shouldn't we allow these kind of protests and so on?" Even in the U.S., the founding fathers all said, guys, these kinds of freedoms that we're giving, we can have these kinds of freedoms because we have a certain kind of population. If we don't have that, it won't work. They said this over. You can go down the line of the founding fathers. They said, guys, this will not work if you have a different kind of population. You can't have these kinds of freedom. In other words, if you have like right to bear arms, for instance, right to bear arms. You can have a right to bear arms if you have a population that's going to be responsible with that. If everyone starts blowing each other out of the water, no, you can't have that. You can't have that kind of freedom unless you have a certain kind of population. And so it's just interesting that people come up with these ideas. Hey, we can have these rights because we have a population that's going to deal with it responsibly. And then the people who are putting all of this into law say, by the way, guys, this is not going to work for everyone. This is not going to work for everyone. If virtue breaks down, this system is not going to work. But then you get to the age, and we're so used to it that we treat it like a total given and an absolute. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of population you have all these rights. And if people are going to use all the rights just to use it for evil, then there's not going to be any problem. But there is going to be a problem. So it looks like I don't know. It looks like the entire system's about to come crashing to the ground in Great Britain.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff.
Very, very, very interesting stuff. What is happening here? I'm just seeing a video on the one side. What is going on here? Why is there a lion out in the streets?
I don't know. Where is that? I remember in Paris where in France when they did the riots and they let animals out of there. So is this the same thing?
This is a stupid joke.
3 billion Palestinian babies.
Don't joke about this.
You know what's crazy? If some of those other channels, like Syrian girl or whatever her name is, if she posted that and made it slightly more realistic, Israel let out a lion and it killed 300 Palestinian babies. That it would have like a million shares right now.
Yeah. So this is apparently a video of a lion that escaped a circus in Italy yesterday. But then this is posted with Hebrew text, and this guy says Israel just released this lion which already ate 3 billion Palestinian babies, just to make fun of the amount of ridiculous nonsense that is being shared right now.
Hey, maybe that was a lion that bee kept messing with.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
that bee kept taunting that thing.
Yeah, that was messed up.
And it certainly exists now. If you stand on the streets of London calling for jihad, you are calling for terror. And that is actually a place where free speech is at its limit and is no longer permissible. It's the same with, for instance, calls for intifada on the London tubes. Remember, we had a touch of intifada on the London tubes a few years ago. So again, calling for intifada is something that you're not allowed to do in the UK.
Okay, but Douglas, let me ask you this.
You're not allowed to. Let me finish one other case. You're not allowed.
I believe you can't even call for that in America. That would be an incitement to violence. There would be an incitement to uprising, to rebellion, to overthrow, or to do any of these things, and that is actually against the law in America as well. So
yeah, there's it usually has to be some direct call for violence and so on. I don't know what the case is in the UK and stuff, but there are certain things that allow people like Ali Dawa to get away with it. Like, oh, I'm calling for AP to be executed in some hypothetical future. I'm not saying like right now he has to be killed or something like that. And that's actually enough to let him slide in a lot of cases.
That's beautiful. Many such cases.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
allowed to stand on the streets
We're
of London
proud of that.
and call for the murder of Jews or any other minority.
No.
And yet people have been getting away with this
No, but
Saturday
the-
after
but these
Saturday.
are-
and,
right.
and are the police arresting people? No.
Right.
No, they're not. The police last week said we're outnumbered.
Right, so that is a key point. The police have said, Met Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley said, the laws created by Parliament are clear. There is no absolute power to ban protest. Therefore, there will be a protest this weekend. But the laws are also there to stop people brazenly supporting terrorism. So if people were to use a pro-Hamas banner or chant pro-Hamas a sentiment, that would be against the current.
Yeah, this is so. There is one thing, which is that people are allowed to protest, and you can't violently or strictly shut down a protest movement that is happening right now. But then you see protests, and repeatedly at every corner of those protests, you see violent slogans. You see, violent, hateful things written on their little signs. You see flags of terrorist organizations, jihad flags. You see prayers to kill all the Jews and all of that. Isn't there a point at which you say, you know what? Okay, yes, everyone has a right to protest, but no, we're not doing this anymore due to the massive amount of illegal stuff that is going on in these protests. I mean, if there were Nazis protesting and calling for Nazi UK and another Holocaust, I'm pretty sure that things would go bad very, very, very quickly in comparison.
Or here's what you could do. Every time there's one of these big protests, just say it's a MAGA protest. Say these are all MAGA guys, right? Say they're all MAGA guys, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, go ahead and crush these guys."
So that doesn't mean anything in the UK though, but it could be that they're
I mean,
white
whatever their version of it over there is.
Yeah.
Just say it's them, and then watch people. You got us crack down on these guys.
It'll be mega
law of this country, and the police should take action. That's a different
But it
issue, though.
isn't. But it is, but it's not being policed.
I understand.
It's not being policed.
I understand. So on that, I can.
You can just say there are a bunch of white people protesting outside. The police will attack with brutality. Yeah.
Look how Douglas just is like manhandling here. Here's what we need. We need Douglas Murray, Ben Shapiro, team up versus Bassem Youssef, Mohammed Hijab, co-moderated by Piers Morgan and your fellow Turk, Cenk. And that way it's all even. That's why it's all even. That would break the internet and would be as enlightening as anything.
I'm glad you didn't say even Steven again.
Even Steven? You can't say even Steven enough, man. It rhymes. Even Steven, man. There, I corrected you. Now we're even.
Because it's right. Yeah.
Laws. However, there will be a large.
They're not going to, because they're outnumbered.
No, but
they're outnumbered.
You and I can agree that's wrong, but that shouldn't mitigate the rights.
Well, don't you think that matters? Hang on, don't you think that matters?
No, it does matter.
That means that we have a rule of law, but it's not able to be policed. What's the point of having a law if you can't police it?
Well, I agree with you, but I also think that there are a large number of those
Why are you stuttering?
protesters who genuinely are.
How does he not say that? How does he not say that just to mess with him? Why are you stuttering, Piers? I'm not stuttering.
Probably nobody watched it. Yeah,
and they're pro-Palestinian, and they have a view in the way.
Well, I disagree with that. And I'll tell you one reason why. The crowds in question are 100 times larger than the number of people who came out when hundreds of thousands of people were being killed in Yemen. They are 100 times larger than the number of people who came out when Bashar al-Assad killed hundreds of thousands of people in Syria. Seems to me that the people in question only care if one side in the particular conflict happens to involve the Israelis.
But they're allowed
very
to.
excited.
Jews. That's what you're supposed to say.
Got it. Nailed it.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
Look at this. Look at the Syrian civil war death toll. The war has resulted in an estimated 470,000 to 610,000 violent deaths, making it the second deadliest conflict of the 21st century after the Second Congo War. But hey.
And everyone who's watching right now is going, what? There's a war in Syria, and what? There was something in Congo? What? We don't hear about this. All we hear about is Israel.
Does Congo even exist? Like, what is Congo?
And again, I mean, Saudi Arabia was deliberately bombing civilian population. I mean, they were bombing weddings and so on. You didn't hear a peep out. You didn't hear a peep about this. You didn't see college protesters around the world marching in groups of tens of thousands and so on. Didn't see it. No one cares. Why? I have to agree with Douglas. The only thing that makes this different is Jews.
Jews. You know what's worse? There is currently an ongoing genocide going on. Yes, there is currently an ongoing genocide right now. It is still ongoing. It is not entirely concluded. And no, it's not Israel that is doing it. It's called the Darfur genocide, not to be confused with Farfour. And that is taking place in Sudan. In Sudan, Darfur are an ethnic minority in Sudan, and they have been systematically killed, genocided in an ongoing genocide, ongoing fight since 2003. This is still ongoing, but half the world has never even heard about this. Half the world doesn't even know about this because nobody cares, because it's Sudan, and because the perpetrators, by the way, are here. This is the Sudanese government in charge. It is overseeing this genocide, who also happen to be 97% Muslims. But hey, nobody cares because there's no Jews, no news.
Allowed to.
So I don't. Well, they're allowed to, absolutely, and we can make judgments about them. But I would not presume by any means that what you're talking about are pro-peace people. They're anti-Israeli. That's it.
Well, but they're allowed to be anti-Israeli. I think that's the point. They're not allowed.
Sure, they're allowed to be anti.
I would say that many of them are anti-Jewish directly. You can say it. We all know it's true.
If you're allowed to be, in that case, I suppose we have to allow people to be anti-other nations as well. I mean, Britain was founded at the same Israel was founded in the same year, within the year of Pakistan. Maybe we should allow large protests of hundreds of thousands of people to go around the streets of London protesting that Pakistan doesn't have a right to exist or right to defend itself.
Well,
Maybe we should allow this. I don't think it's a good precedent whatsoever.
Hang on. I don't think you have a right to say that Israel doesn't exist. If you want the extermination of all people in Israel, that is a criminal offense. However, if you are literally, as I said...
No, you're getting it wrong. What people are saying is, yes, Israel should not have the right to exist. Israel should be eradicated. And of course, the Jews living there, they would all be peacefully living inside an Arab Muslim state that would be established instead. That's what they're saying. Nobody's advocating for a genocide. Or they're saying we should, deport them all to Europe, where they belong. That's what they say. They only present these other options here. Right, in some fantasy world. We all know when people say Israel doesn't have a right to exist, when they are anti-Israel, when they say they shouldn't be in this land, what they mean is it's okay to kill them. It's okay to massacre them. It's okay to do ethnic cleansing. It's okay to do genocide. But yeah, whatever. Let's complain about whenever Israel responds. Let's then complain about violence.
Well, it doesn't seem to be a criminal offense, Piers. It doesn't seem to be a
you and I
criminal
can
offense.
agree on that.
I repeat,
I'm not disagreeing with you about...
We're clearly in a position where they're not policing the law.
No, I understand.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have all of these videos of people inciting violence on the streets.
But Douglas, you and I can agree that the police need to enforce existing law. There's no dispute between us on that, and they should be doing that a lot more. But we also, I think, have to surely look at the people who are genuinely there in a non-violent manner, of which there are many. These are massive protests. I think back to the...
I think this is coming to a moment that I found very significant. I didn't watch this whole thing, but I listened to parts of it, to some highlights. And this is actually the part where he's going to give some very good point. Quickly, Elsa said from Mossad with love, thank you so much. Thank you. And greetings to my handlers, my employers at Mossad. Tell them that, and I'm very thankful. And David here too, he appreciates it as well.
And I like what they're doing with those fake recordings.
Yeah, it's very, 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 very nice. It's very useful. It helps us a lot. Thank you, man. Thank you. Marion Grand Bruham said, I would be happy to have them in Europe and the Abduls the hell out of here. It's very, very, very Islamophobic. Very Islamophobic.
Yeah, it's pretty racist.
Yep. But I'm pretty sure that the Jews just want to stay. The Israelis just want to stay there in Israel.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're gonna trust Europe.
Yeah. They
I mean, look
especially, I mean, just especially this year, we have all seen why exactly a home for Jews was probably a very good idea. Was probably necessary.
That is really the takeaway. I mean, the takeaway. I mean, again, before World War II, Jews said, "Hey, we really, really need our own spot where we can defend ourselves and not rely on other people to defend us." What are you talking about? This is the modern world. You don't have to worry about the stuff that's happened in the past. Then they get rounded up and tossed into cattle cars and taken and sent to ovens. And then, oh, okay, yeah, you got a point. You do need a spot where you can take care of yourself. And here we are, decades later. And before this recent, before these recent marches, you would have said, okay, but we're way more modern and advanced and sophisticated than we were during World War II. Now you guys are safe wherever you go, and they're not anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Someone said our ancestors in the West would be in shock at our immigration policies. Indeed. You don't even have to go very far. Just people 50 years ago would be in shock at what is happening today.
Yeah, here in the U.S., they'll even let a Turkish German in here.
I know, it's disgusting, man.
So weird,
so disgusting. Terrible.
We must end the occupation of America by Turkish Germans.
Sir TDS says from the river to the sea is about the erasure of an entire state, genocide. Yeah, we can't say that. That's very, very pro-Zionist, and that means you are advocating for genocide. DR said day 21 of asking for Prophet Tales Part 2, Patreon. How about this? If your concern is quality, just add a special thanks at the end and list donors. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Thank you for reminding me, DR. I'm gonna do it. Mickey Martyr said, I want you to know you'll pay for what you did to my cousin. To Farfour.
Isn't Mickey Martyr a cooler name than Farfour?
Yeah, it is. It actually is. It is.
Maybe Mickey Martyr should be our character in our parody of that. Ours will be better because we'll have Prophet Muhammad with Mickey Martyr and the rest of the characters.
You should have Farfour in the Boom Boom Room.
No, we'll do our own entire parody children's show.
I know, but that could also be a feature.
Yeah, if we already have the costume, we might as well do it. We'll have to get Ali Dawa to do the voice.
The real massacre said, "Stutter in your rage."
Why stuttering?
Stutter in your rage.
Limes and Stripes said, "Guitar teacher, AP now finger A minor."
These are the people who watch your show, AP.
We don't joke about this anymore. We're done with that joke.
These are the people who watch your show, AP.
This is not Daniel Hikikuchu.
These are your fans.
DR said, I think it's worth mentioning that I'm yet to see a single person even mention the hundreds of hostages still held when talking about a ceasefire.
Yeah.
They don't like the hostages. They hate the hostages.
I mean, seriously, can you imagine? You're at a concert one day, you're chilling at a concert, you're dancing. Oh, I'm dancing, I'm singing. Jihadis just came to get me, and now they have you in some basement or some tunnel, tied up. And meanwhile, college students around the world are going, end the occupation. We need a ceasefire. Just pull out, man. Like, what? And do what? Leave those hostages there? Leave them there? Like what? I mean, it's just insane. Like, yeah, they took a bunch of hostages. They're hiding them. So now what do? Ceasefire. Just ceasefire, man. Just go back and let's end it all. Wait. What about those guys? Small price to pay. Price to pay for peace, man. Peace, yo. Stupid morons, man.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi said Muslim leaders in Arabia, Iran, Turkey, Pakistan, Egypt gathered for a summit. They concluded that Jerusalem must be conquered for Islam. Thoughts? Happy for them and good luck.
We still haven't gone through it, but again, there's a Yasser Qadi video where he goes to the Quran and goes with an interpretation. The traditional historic interpretation would be these two punishments on the Jews were in the past. And Yasser Qadi says, but with the 1948 return of Israel, some of us are interpreting this differently. And we now interpret the punishment against Israel to come in the future, and it's going to be by Muslims destroying Israel. So interesting stuff.
I really want to look into what the summit actually concluded. They did say they condemn that this is just self-defense, that it must be stopped immediately, and so on. But I haven't looked extensively into what the summit said. Although I don't expect anything reasonable from that summit with a bunch of Muslim leaders. Tatsu Sama sagt, Grüße aus der Schweiz. Danke für eure Arbeit. Oh.
Bitte.
Bitteschön.
Bitte, ja.
Bitteschön und Grüße an die Schweiz.
Du hast recht.
Yeah. David Kazashi said those videos taken and published by Hamas, oh, those are from the Jews. Yeah, makes sense. There was even there is a video that was published where Hamas terrorists put on IDF costumes, or put on IDF uniforms, not costumes, but yeah, basically costumes. Put on IDF uniforms and went around in the streets, taking hostages, yelling at people, shooting, killing, and so on. And people who see this are like, well, you see, they have IDF uniforms on. That means they are IDF. It's so ridiculous, man. Cool Luke said, add George Galloway to the list of Hamas apologists. Who is George Galloway?
Hey, some British dude.
Never heard of it.
He's one of those weird party leaders.
I've never heard of it. Othman's Tomato Ketchup said, Alan Delilah, wow, who does the best Ali Dawah impression? David Wood, Farfour, or Ali Dawah? I would say Farfour.
Farfour nails it.
Yeah.
That is funny. We should come up with a ketchup brand, Uthman's Tomato Ketchup. the favorite ketchup of people who want to fake hate crimes against themselves ever.
We should start a ketchup brand and put some a nice cartoon version of Uthman, laughing like this and holding.
If we put out as like a collector's item some ketchup and sold it, it would sell out instantly.
I read this one earlier, but yes, I hope you found it, Amy. That's good. All right. Okay, let's get back.
Protests, for example, against Donald Trump when he came to London, against America because he was the president. We allowed that to happen. I didn't necessarily agree with them, but we allowed them to happen. I remember Madonna saying we should blow up the White House, a women's march in Washington. That happened, and people accepted that.
Well, but here's a very important point on that, Piers. Madonna almost certainly, so far as I know, has no military capability.
Yeah.
So when Madonna says,
and it's clear that some people are just running their mouths and aren't actually planning to blow something up. That's not the case with people who are saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. They actually want to do it, and there are people that they're supporting who have the ability to launch terrorist attacks. So
you get people who are
situation.
You see people who are angry in certain situations and say certain things which they don't really mean, or which are surprising, which are out of the ordinary. On the other hand, you have, for example, these pro-Hamas protesters or pro-Palestine or anti-Israel protesters who say things that people have been saying forever, such as kill the Jews, massacre them, from the river to the sea, no Israel, and so on. So these are serious things, not comparable to that.
Michael Stein said Ben and Jerry's came out with a flavor after Daniel called Toddler Toffee Crunch. Maybe we need to make like a bunch of fake products and do some commercials for them.
Yeah. Madonna looks very interesting nowadays, by the way. So I don't think I wouldn't expect anything here. Anyway,
I'd like to blow up the White House. It's a piece
of...
You
see? He wants to blow up the White House.
When you've just had the largest massacre of Jews since the Holocaust, and you have Hamas supporters and others marching through London calling for it to happen again, that does matter because there is a capability. So there is a difference, isn't there?
Well, there is, but I don't think that all of these protesters are pro-Hamas.
And the difference is whether or not you have a large artillery behind
but you don't honestly think they're all pro-Hamas, these people?
Well, I think that anyone who, for instance, chants things like "from the river to the sea" is in fact
but they're not all doing that,
or is criminally ignorant.
This is weak. This is weak by Piers. You're not saying that all. This reminds me of like when we criticize something with Islam and the response is, oh, so you're saying all Muslims support the killing of apostates? No, didn't say that. Have never even thought it. Why are you acting like I said it? So, I mean, you've got Douglas here pointing out what these guys are actually saying. And then Pierce's response is actually, well, you don't think all of these people support Hamas, do you? I mean, really? Are you saying that every last person at every one of these protests is a Hamas supporter? Because that just sounds strange to me, even though it's something you never said and never thought in your life.
Yeah.
Pretty dopey.
Who, for instance, chants things like "from the river to the sea," is in fact
Yes, but they're
what
not
you
all doing
describe.
that.
Or
I think I want to.
They're not all doing that.
I want to listen to this part again. I think this is.
I
whether or
think you're
not you have
making,
a
but I don't
matter, because there is a capability. So there is a difference, isn't there?
Well, there is, but I don't think that all of these protesters are
Right.
pro-Hamas.
And the difference
but
is
I
whether
think
or
you're
not you have
making-
a large artillery behind
Yeah, but you don't honestly think they're all pro-Hamas, these people?
Well, I think that anyone who, for instance, chants things like "from the river to the sea" is in fact
Yes, but they're
what
not
you
all
describe,
doing that.
or is criminally ignorant. Oh well, they are. I mean, there's masses of videos of them marching.
So there is the thing, right? There is the problem. There's a it's complicated. I mean, when people go out there and shout all of these supposedly anti-Zionist, and they don't even know what they mean by anti-Zionist. They don't know what anti-Zionist actually means. Many of them. I'm not saying all. Lots of them do, and they.
So you're saying all of them?
but the thing is, lots of those people who make these very anti-Jewish remarks and shout anti-Jewish slogans and anti-Israel slogans, many of these people are indeed ignorant. Even people who say, free, free Palestine, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Many of these people don't actually know what that stands for, especially in the West, where people ignorantly and stupidly just want to join in on doing whatever is currently in fashion, whatever is currently the new justice, social justice thing. They don't actually know what that stands for. But then a lot of them also do know it and still say it. But it's really hard to I don't know, to really predict, to really say how many of these people know what they're doing and how many of these people are ignorant. But there is so much ignorance in the world that you can't rule that out.
Past Westminster.
But you can't just support the Nazis and then get away with saying, well, I didn't know.
Grabby last week.
And that's the distinction you can make. It's they are either knowingly or unknowingly supporting Hamas, right? Some of them are unknowingly supporting Hamas.
Yeah.
But the point is, and when I say supporting, I don't mean they're vocally saying we agree with Hamas. I mean, Hamas has a grand strategy: launch a terrorist attack, run for cover, let other people get killed in the backlash, the response from Israel, and then point fingers and say, look what Israel does. Look what Israel does. The protesters in general, whether they know what they're supporting or not, are supporting that. They're supporting that entire the entire plan of Hamas.
Yeah. This is funny. Marian granted it's in vogue. I guess this is the phrase, the saying that it's in fashion. Because for a second I could imagine that
Vogue.
It's in the actual Vogue magazine, Free Palestine.
No, Vogue. You just mentioned Madonna. You were just talking about Madonna. Vogue.
Yeah.
Don't just stand there. Let's get to it. Strike a pose. There's nothing to it. Vogue. That.
Okay.
It's in Vogue.
I know that is what is being said, but I'm saying right now,
Vogue.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was also in the Vogue magazine.
Vogue.
Exactly that.
Yeah, but they're not all
marching
doing it.
past the statue of Winston Churchill.
I've watched the videos, and there are lots of people chanting and some who aren't.
Okay, well, here's a challenge. Piers. If you decided to go on some kind of march, and in week one you discovered that you had the BNP along your side calling, for instance, for the murder of all black people, would you not wonder whether or not you should go on week two? Would you not drop out by about week three? I'd have thought so. I would.
That's a good question.
Look at his face.
And
Look at
yes,
his eyes.
I would. that doesn't actually,
good.
that shouldn't.
Right. So we can tell something about the marches.
Well, you can tell that you can see that you have a view. Your own opinion is they shouldn't be marching along.
This is a very good moment. This is the one that was posted, where it seems like Piers is caught in a moment and he doesn't know exactly how to.
It is, and he's making a really stupid point. But not everyone is actively calling for the annihilation. So surely it's okay for some of the people there. And Douglas Murray saying, "Hey, but I mean, supposing you walked into this out of complete ignorance on week 1, what are you doing there on week 2 and week 3?"
Yeah. This is good. I want to see this again.
Lots of people chanting and
here's,
some who aren't.
Okay, well, here's a challenge. Okay, well, here's a challenge, Piers. If you decided to go on some kind of march and in week 1 you discovered that you had the BNP along your side calling, for instance, for the murder of all black people, would you not wonder whether or not you should go on week 2? Would you not drop out by about week 3? I'd have thought so. I would.
Watch his eyes.
That's a good question. And yes, I would. But that doesn't actually. That shouldn't.
Right. So we can tell something about the marches.
Well, you can tell that you can say that you have a view. Your own opinion is they shouldn't.
Why stuttering?
Be marching alongside these other people. However, they are still entitled in a free democratic country like ours.
Yeah, he's caught up in a. Okay, yeah. He's no. He got me. He got me.
I don't have absolute opinions on this. I just think it's a really interesting test.
This is nice. This is nice. This was the decisive moment here. Douglas is very accurately, with precision. I don't know, what do you call it? He finished him. He destroyed him. He really made the point that needs to be made here, and I think Piers should really think about this for a little bit. All of that is simply not an excuse. Not all of them are doing that is not an excuse. Because if it's so prominent, if the whole anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic stuff is so prominent in these rallies, and of course the Islam side of it justifies all of that, then maybe you should wonder, am I supposed to be here? Am I supporting something wrong here? I don't know. But lots of them also decide to support it anyway, and they justify it. But I hope Piers Morgan gets it, at least after this point. But here's also his reaction to that. Look, I showed this earlier, but his reaction to that is also here. Somebody posted this and said, you don't see Piers Morgan lost for words much. And Piers said, like, Douglas made a very good point. And this is actually that part. Let's see.
Isn't there?
Well, there is, but I don't think that all of these protesters are pro-Hamas.
And the difference is whether or not you have a large artillery behind.
Yeah, but you don't honestly think they're all pro-Hamas, these people?
Well, I think that anyone who, for instance, chants things like "from the river to the sea" is in fact
yes, but they're not all doing that,
or is criminally ignorant. Oh well, they are. I mean, there's masses of videos of them marching past Westminster Abbey last week, saying exactly that.
Yeah, but they're not all doing
marching
it.
Past the statue of Winston Churchill last
I've
week,
watched the videos, and there are lots of people chanting and some who aren't.
Okay, well, here's a challenge. Okay, well, here's a challenge, Piers. If you decided to go on some kind of march and in week 1 you discovered that you had the BNP along your side calling, for instance, for the murder of all black people, would you not wonder whether or not you should go on week 2? Would you not drop out by week 3? I'd have thought so. I would.
That's a good question. And yes, I would.
This is a good moment, man. Douglas Murray. I don't know. I'm impressed.
Classic.
I'm impressed. He hits
of how far
the nail on the
free
head.
speech goes.
Well,
and I do feel
here's
uncomfortable.
the interesting test, if I can say so.
Yeah, sure.
The interesting test, if I can say so, Piers, is there are limits to this, in fact. You are not allowed to glorify the murder of people on the streets of Britain. You are not allowed to be a member of a prescribed terrorist group in Britain. But I return to the point I made at the start. We allow it. I repeat, we have Hamas commanders living in the UK who take welfare in the UK and use it to commit terror. Why are they not locked up? Because we have laws that we don't pursue.
Yeah.
We have criminal charges that we don't use. The person in particular I'm thinking of, Mohammed Sawalha, got British citizenship. You're meant to sign a form saying you're a person of good character to become a British citizen. Can you say that somebody who was a former military...
Pierre Chanel said, funny AP, just do not understand that David Wood is against the Jews. David, why didn't you tell me that you were against the Jews this whole time?
Well, you've just do not understand.
And is David Wood, is DW David Wood, or is it Daily Wire? I don't know. What is it?
I don't know, but you just don't understand this comment.
Yeah, don't be obscene. We don't want to talk about body parts here now. So
Hey,
what is
hey,
this even about?
P.O. Chanel too. we just don't understand what the heck you're talking about here.
Just get out of here, man.
Yeah, why don't you just get out of here?
Sanke said Piers would understand proportionality if he watched Farfour, for example. If Jews destroy your homework, you can stone a cat, but going further is wrong. So I would like to see Piers Morgan's reaction to Farfour. I wonder if he's aware of it. Giovanni Garcia said, you guys didn't tell me you were on SMH. I don't have to tell you.
What? We didn't. What?
Shaking my head. No, I scheduled it 3 hours in advance, I think. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's my fault. Spirit and Flesh said, AP as an atheist, reason Jews are always hated. Love watching you and my fellow WV brother, David Wood. Always excited when you guys go live, praying for you. Because there are different reasons. Of course, I have my thoughts on it. Douglas Murray recently, we watched a video of him. He gave some very, very good reasoning. But the way I thought about this a lot over the years is that that Jews happen to be one of those populations, a very rare population, that refused to assimilate into oblivion, that refused to simply adopt a different religion or a different ideology, different culture, and then be sucked in and disappear as a group. They were always very firm on preserving their culture, their beliefs, their identity, their names, and so on. And people don't like that. People often don't like that throughout history. They don't want that necessarily to be happening. They want everyone to assimilate and to get rid of whatever identity and whatever belief they hold. They want them to become part of the group. They don't want them to stand out. But Jews have been very successful over centuries, over the millennia, at maintaining their culture, maintaining their beliefs, maintaining their scriptural things, preserving their history, and so on. And of course, then there's also the other factor of Jews being, holding different positions in society, being pushed out, being considered people who have no roots, which was a cause to hate them. Then they get their own country. Then people are like, how dare they suddenly have a country? There is so much at play here. I don't know. What do you say, David?
He asked, as an atheist, what do you think?
So what do you say?
I'm not an atheist. So the only thing that's relevant to me
you're
here
a secret atheist.
No, the only thing that's relevant to me here is the West Virginia part. So I'll just say, almost heaven, West Virginia. Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. We listened to that when we were driving, because I listen to that every day, at least 5 times. Gordon's bulldozer said, nah, he should be rolling in a Bugatti like bottom G. Yeah, even Farfour. Othman's tomato ketchup said October 7 was Islamic attack on Jews. 14 million Jews, 1,400 killed, 2 billion Muslims. Proportional response would be 200,000 Muslims. Proportionality is idiocy. It is.
Ooh, this person's Uthman's tomato ketchup here is arguing proportionality based on the size of the population. That's interesting theory. Ask Muslims if they'd support that.
Yeah. Charlie Olvera said stuttering is an early sign of bowel incontinence. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just learned that by reading the super chat. I agree with that.
And in order to deal with Bowel incontinence, you have to remember that the eyes are the leather strap of the anus.
Yeah, that's also very important.
Which, by the way, is the actual relevant understanding of that verse.
Yeah, the wisdom which you get, the haq and the hikmah which you get from Islam.
The haq and the hikmah.
Go knows, both of this. Aside from the tweet, anything new with Snicker? I don't know. No.
I think they're talking about the Jesus was Palestinian that he got fact checked on.
Did he just tweet that?
It was like a day or two ago, and I responded that Muhammad was Zionist. Just as you're just going to say anything, just say whatever you want. But yeah, he actually got the fact check. That, no, Jesus was not Palestinian, hadn't been invented yet.
I mean, why is a guy who doesn't know a single thing about the world and about the history commenting on something and typing something so stupid? Jesus was Palestinian.
It's all he knows his crowd. He knows his crowd. He's using his crowd. He's getting his reward from his conversion to Islam. Namely, all you have to do is post a bunch of stupid things like this, and you have a ton of followers. Martin Luther King was white.
This is good.
Farfour the mouse approves.
False. He was an Israeli Jew. Read the Bible. You're welcome. Jesus was Palestinian. I mean, what a stupid comment. And this is funny to be corrected by the community notes this way. Jesus was born in Roman-controlled Judea. The name Palestine was not yet in use. The province was renamed to Syria Palestina a century later. And some 500 years after that, Arabians conquered the land and settled there. There is zero legitimacy behind Nego's claim. This is brutal. Very, very brutal. Plus, add to that even long after that, long after any of this, if you went back in time to the 1700s or 1800s and talked to the average Arab person in what is now known as Palestine and said to them, "Oh, hey, you are Palestinian, right?" They would say, "What are you talking about? I'm Arab. I'm Muslim." That's what they would say, because there was no such thing as Palestinian. That was only adopted as an identity in the 20th century. That's when that happened, based on Europeans who called it Palestine, based on biblical and historical knowledge, where a small part of the region was known as Philistia, based on these ancient people who were immigrants, who were settlers, Greek settlers into the region, who were known as the Pelishtim. That's it. Nothing to do at all with the people who are living there right now. Hasret said that missile was AI generated. Prove me wrong. Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah, that's a joke, but that is one of the ongoing things that ties into what we were talking about earlier. Once you believe that the people who are giving information on breaking news stories are complete liars, like, what do you do? Like, you can't trust anything.
Liar! You're a liar!
You're finished already. 501 Mobius said there are 19th century maps of Palestine. Did you not just hear what I just said? Did you not hear what I just said? I said they adopted it as an identity in the 20th century based on European language, what Europeans call it, because Europeans called the region Palestine forever. I was just adding on to what we just read here in the note, which is that the Romans named it Syria Palestina a century or so after Jesus, and after that it was known in Western languages as Palestina. So that's what they referred to the region as. The British, when they took over the region from the Ottomans in the early 20th century, called it British Mandate of Palestine, because they were calling the region Palestine, because that's what they adopted from the Romans. Nothing at all to do with the Palestinian population, which adopted the name from the Europeans. Okay.
military commander of Hamas in the West Bank is, quote, a person of good character? I'd say not. So again, like the police, like many other people, the border control in the UK doesn't enforce the law, doesn't care to do so. And I repeat, there is a serious problem with this in the UK. Israel, as you can see tonight, can look after itself. I wonder if Britain can say the same.
Yeah, listen, I understand that point. You've also said it will have to be counted if the march goes ahead because the British public shouldn't have to put up with it. But what does that mean in reality? Yes. You're not endorsing people to go confront them, are you?
No, not at all. I would suggest that if the cenotaph, for instance, comes under attack, there should be a peaceful ring of people around the cenotaph to protect it, as with other monuments. And I think that that's what many...
That thing, right? That monument to remember the peace. Isn't that, I don't know much about that symbol in London. The cenotaph. Is that the significance of it? Can somebody tell me? David, you should know. You are English.
I mean, it's probably the thing. Is that the thing? I mean, they've been like painting Palestinian flags on stuff and so on.
The cenotaph is a war memorial on White Hill in London, England. But yeah, this is it. For the British and Commonwealth dead of both world wars and British dead from later wars. Okay, to remember the peace. Okay, and the wars. Yeah, that's what it is. To remember the fallen soldiers. Okay, that's what it is.
People will do. I hope they do so peacefully. But as this goes on and as the provocations grow and grow, I'm very, very afraid from what's going to happen this weekend coming in the UK. Personally, I think it's safer in Israel these days than it is in central London, certainly for Jews.
Let's talk.
Oh my, yeah, that's true. That's actually very true. It looks like.
He ain't lying.
Yeah, what? What is it? What did you say? He ain't lying? Is that what you said?
I said he ain't lying.
Oh, yeah.
What concerns me about what Israel is doing is not their efforts to get rid of Hamas, but because of the particular nature of Hamas embedding themselves amongst civilian populations with the massive amounts of civilian casualties that will inevitably come, and that figure will grow and grow and grow. Are we not, as Barack Obama warned, are we not creating here just an opportunity for far greater radicalization of all those young Palestinians who watched their loved ones get killed? Why would we imagine that at the end of all this, they're going to want to do anything other than to become a new version of Hamas in wanting to exact revenge for what happened?
This is a thing. I mean, I guess he asked the question to just be devil's advocate here. But it's always... I don't know, the question is what should be done instead, right? What should Israel be doing instead in response to all of this? What exactly should be done? It shouldn't be Israel's responsibility to protect the civilians and their lives. It was already Israel already gave the warning and said evacuate. The instructions to evacuate started on October 7, on the same day, or on October 8, and they have been saying it the entire time, and there are still massive numbers of civilians in the north who are bombed.
To their families.
Well, two things. One is, if you just follow the logic of what Barack Obama said, then you just shouldn't do anything. If you're Israel, you should be attacked and just sit back and say, great, we'll wait for the next one. But the second and more important thing is, your question supposes that there is a sort of peaceful Palestinian population in the Gaza who would love a two-state solution, and then a few bad apples in Hamas. I think that's not true. Why is it that when one of the victims of the music festival, a poor young German Jewish girl, who it seems was raped and then brutally murdered and taken into the Gaza naked. Why was it that you can find, and anyone can find this online, a crowd of ordinary Gazans? It wasn't Hamas, it wasn't a Hamas rally. Ordinary Gazans spitting on her body, hitting her body, mutilating her body further as it went down the street. Does that strike you, Piers, as a placid population of peacenik types who are just desperate?
That's exactly what needs to be brought up here. So it's not just Hamas. it's not just Hamas that is doing things. It's not just the people who participate in these specific attacks and the infiltration. Even it's not those people who were in on the whole plan. It's also a lot of the others who are at home, who are the public, the general public in Gaza, who participated, who celebrated.
And people, this reminds me of like the situation with the grooming gangs, and that you don't realize how, like, culturally, how many people are on board with this. You'd see the situation with the grooming gangs, and you could look at the list of names, and it would be like 3 brothers involved in gang raping this girl, and the father, and the uncle, and the cousins, and so on. It's like, and it's a family affair, right? It's entire families who are all gang raping and drugging and pimping the same little girls.
Well, families
it's
should
like-
stick together.
And so it's like you can have a bad apple or something like this, right? Like almost everyone in my family has been a criminal of one variety or another. But I happen to know, if I were to call up my brother, let's say, and say, hey, I got this 12-year-old girl over here. Let's get the whole family together and gang rape her and stuff. My brother's going to at first assume I'm joking. If I'm not, someone's getting clocked. Someone's going to get clocked, right? The family is not going to put up with that sort of thing. Somehow you can have entire populations coming out of the mosque, and they think, hey, hey, did you hear about this girl we're about to go gang rape? Yeah, let's go gang rape this little girl. And it doesn't cross anyone's mind, hey, we need to put a stop to this. Notice that you've got an entire Pakistani community involved in this, and it doesn't cross anyone's mind to say, hey guys, this is wrong. I need to go report this to the authorities, what you're doing here. It's just acceptable among them. So the point is, you can look at specific people who get caught. There are a bunch of other people who are involved and complicit to different degrees, at the very least, not telling people what's going on and so on. And so I just don't think Westerners understand anything outside of their own bubble. They think, okay, you've got the terrorists. There's some bad guys there. But other than that, other people around there are just, they're like us. And guess what? They're not.
They're not like us. Not like us. In the Western world, there is a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of naivety about the differences between different cultures, and that whole idea that in the end we are all just people. Everyone is just needs a little reminder to do things right, and then everyone will just be okay and cool. That's complete nonsense.
Hey, get a Palestinian pen pal, eh? Just get a Palestinian pen pal.
We have footage also of the attack on October 7th, people infiltrating and committing atrocities. It wasn't just Hamas. It was civilians together with Hamas. We have footage of civilians walking through the gates of the kibbutz and walking through Israel to loot dead bodies, to loot the villages, the communities, just randomly steal things here and there, and some taking people back. It was not just Hamas, it was also the population.
Desperately waiting for a two-state solution to be put back on the table for the millionth time in the last 70-something years. It doesn't seem like that to me.
No, but there are over 2 million people in Gaza, and there weren't 2 million people in that video clip. There were a few hundred. So I don't like to make...
That's a very strange point.
Yeah, well, a few hundred at random. And did you see anyone in it saying, hey, guys, stop. We're not meant to mutilate the bodies of girls or rape them in public. No, I didn't see that.
But then what you're really articulating, correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't what you're articulating really an endorsement of collective punishment, where you assume they're all guilty?
No.
No, that's not how it works. That's not what collective punishment is supposed to be described as. This is a completely normal retaliation, state of war.
And
how it
Douglas
unfolds.
and Douglas Murray's pointing out that Pierce's understanding seems to be you have this limited number of a few hundred or few thousand, let's say, Hamas guys, and then everyone else is innocent and has nothing to do with them. And that's false. That's false. Yes, there are people there who would love peace. Yes, there are people there who would just love a two-state solution. Yes, there are, and so on. But the idea that it's this small group, Hamas, and then everyone else, freedom-loving supporters of the two-state solution and so on, who want nothing to do with terrorism, bull. It's not like that.
Yeah, I don't know why you talk about bulls now, but yeah. So
Well, it could be a new character in our cartoon.
oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Abu Bakr the bull.
Yeah, it's plus collective punishment. So if the situation was like this, if Israel, in response to everything that happened, said, oh, you know what, we don't care at all about who is and who is not a civilian, we're just going to bomb and kill everything. This entire population is to be punished. We're going to bomb them all. We have no interest in protecting or saving anyone. If that's what they said, that would probably amount to collective punishment. But that's clearly not what has been done.
No.
Everyone knows from the beginning to the end, even those who hate Israel know from the beginning that Israel has been saying, we will bomb this part, severely, evacuate, go south. Civilians leave because you will die. Go away from there. Save yourselves. That's what they have said repeatedly. So
yeah,
that doesn't sound like collective punishment.
No, they're going after Hamas, and there is lots of collateral damage because Hamas makes sure there is lots of collateral damage because that's part of their entire project. So in case anyone doesn't know, collective punishment is where you say, okay, so and so did this, therefore I'm going to go kill a bunch of people from that person's group as a punishment towards him. I'm going to go kill a bunch of other people. That's not what it is. They're not saying, hey, look what Hamas did, therefore we're going to kill a bunch of Palestinians. It's here's what Hamas did, therefore we're going to punish Hamas. And Hamas happens to embed themselves around a bunch of other people who are now caught in the crossfire. I do have to point out yet again that collective punishment is exactly what Muhammad did repeatedly to Jews.
Yes.
To Jews. This Jew did this, therefore punish the entire Jewish tribe.
Yes. It's Yori said, look at him stuttering while reporting. Alhamdulillah, powerful stuff. Spirit and Flesh said, did CRT lay the groundwork for pro-Pali protests? I don't know. I think it goes way deeper than that. Far back than that.
Yeah, and you can say lots of these things are kind of connected based on and they're connected to other things and so on. So it's all connected.
Yeah, it's all connected. So Dave said, once Palestine is established, LGBT people, women will finally have a place where they can feel safe and secure.
Yeah, it'll be a utopia
there. Yeah,
Palestine will be a leftist utopia.
Yes, they will treat everyone equally, everyone well. All gay people will have so much fun over there.
It'll be it would be funny to see a Palestinian jihadi type mocking this and saying, hey, all you LGBTQ, yes, come over here. We'll call it a fruitopia. And
what is this? Oh yeah, this is one of those videos of this is camera footage from the Israeli community, the kibbutz, and here are these are not Hamas. These are random Gazan civilians that just broke into Israel and run into the community. Some have guns. Some might be Hamas. Many are not. They just go in there. Hey, let's go in there. There's an old man with his. Look at this one.
This guy's on a cane. Oh, we'll smack a Jew with my cane.
Yeah, let's take their stuff and maybe I can still manage to rape one of those Jewish girls in my old age.
And look, they were trying to get that. They got the little walking gate open. They were trying to get the bigger gate open to drive cars through it.
Yeah, that's not just the Hamas terrorists here, bro. That's not just the terrorists.
No, there's Hamas, and then there's all the people who hate them.
Yeah, here are civilians going around taking random things belonging to Israelis from the community. People just, getting a bunch of stuff, filling stuff in their backpacks, taking motorbikes with them. I don't know. It's not just Hamas. Civilians participated in this. Civilians celebrated it. I don't want to show the video one more time, but you can see the most significant sign of that when you see the videos of civilians everywhere here celebrating while these Hamas members
They're condemning. They're condemning.
have dead or unconscious bodies of Israelis on the back of their trucks. These civilians everywhere are celebrating it and like, yeah, Allahu Akbar.
Look at all these innocent civilians.
Poor civilians. Okay, I don't want to show bodies because I already got many of my live streams lately age restricted. I don't want to do that again. But yeah, there are bodies in there.
They don't stand up to Hamas. They're also guilty, and that's where people have a problem, I think, with the moral line here, which is if you hold all the Gazans equally responsible, then is that not collective punishment, which is illegal?
Well, first of all,
who said that, man? Who said that?
First of all, there is some responsibility for the peoples in the Gaza. If you elect Hamas and they kill Fatah, and then they remain in power for all of the years afterwards, I'm afraid that there is some responsibility of the people in that situation. When the Germans had Adolf Hitler come to power and voted for him, we in Britain took the view that the German people were responsible in some way. So I'm not for collective punishment per se, but nor am I for this idea that there is something unique going on in the Israeli-Gaza context that we in Britain couldn't understand.
Actually, there is one unique thing.
In our own history, there is very similar things.
But there is one unique thing, which is that the population of Gaza is pretty unique in that nearly half of the population are children. That is a unique situation.
No, I'll tell you what's unique about the population of Gaza. It's the only population in the world where people routinely claim Israelis are committing genocide, but which has a population boom all of the time. I mean, that strikes me as being quite an interesting thing about the Gaza. But as for that...
that's the point that I just made when I brought up the population growth. It's steady population growth all the time. It keeps growing. But people keep saying, "Oh, Israel has been committing genocide for decades." Yeah. What genocide, man?
Yeah, and I mean, again, when you're saying, "Hey, half the population is young people," that means people are having tons and tons and tons of kids.
No, they are forced to have kids, David.
How is this? Again, how is this once again, Israelis are the worst genociders in history. It's like they're dumping fertilizer constantly on Gaza somehow.
They're forcing them to have kids. You don't understand.
They're making them. They're putting fertility pills in all in their water that they're giving them.
Yeah, they don't want to have babies, but Israel forces them to have babies. They're so cruel. So here, once again, growth of Palestine, Palestinian territories, population of Israel and Palestinian territories between 1960 and 2020 in millions. And you see here, it continues, it's growing. I don't know, maybe they're trying to say that Israel is trying to get rid of them, but they just can't because they grow so fast. Or...
I mean, look at that. You're talking from 1960 to 2020, talking 60 years, fivefold.
Yeah.
I mean, that is an exploding population. That is, again, terrible at genocide.
Terrible at genocide. Very incompetent, horrible job that you're doing there, Israel. Like, shame on you. That's what we were supposed to get to.
As for the moral cruelty, I want to make a very, very important point, if I can say so, on this, which is, people quite often abuse history and they say things all the time. I mean, about the only thing anyone from history knows is about the Nazis. Here's something I can tell you with absolute certainty, Piers, having not just seen some of the results of what Hamas did on the ground here in Israel a few weeks ago, but having watched the videos of the unedited footage, which I was one of the journalists was sadly allowed to see the other day. I can tell you one thing: the comparison between Hamas and the Nazis is insufficient.
Oh, this is the moment.
And sorry, there's an incoming.
Get safe, Douglas.
Oh no!
Why's he got that skinny guy protecting him? I would want like a giant dude.
The skinny guy is probably.
I would want like a 400-pound dude shielding me from a missile.
It's probably the cameraman or something, making sure to guide him into the right direction.
Incoming.
This is an interesting moment, man.
Insufficient. And sorry, there's an incoming.
Get safe, Douglas.
Come.
Wow. It's very interesting to see that on camera. Like this was live broadcast. Right? Wow. Okay, everything's good.
Yep, we're good.
Didn't die. Do you hear that in the background? Somebody's in the background saying, "What the F is that?"
Okay, Douglas.
Yeah.
It came from the other direction, so okay. Anyhow, we're okay.
Are you okay?
Let's just yeah.
No, he's dead. He's dead, Piers.
Okay. I mean, look.
He doesn't seem to care much either. Like,
it would have just been funny with Piers going, "Are you okay?" No, Piers, I died. You're talking to a ghost.
Yeah.
Like it was just going to land on us here.
Which way was that rocket
left.
coming from? Is it coming from Gaza or from Israel?
Yes, it seemed to be coming from Gaza. So yeah, it's fine.
I don't think he is.
All day. Let me just finish this point, if I may.
Before we go on, Douglas.
So see, he doesn't even care. He just wants to. He just wants to continue with the discussion.
Okay, back on this collective punishment thing.
Atman, how does that make you? How does that make you feel? What just happened there?
I mean, it's.
What just happened? I don't even remember. What are you talking?
I'm a little used to it. I was in Ukraine last year and was in Kherson, and
this is nothing. I don't sit in a studio all day, Piers.
Yeah.
and when the Russians were shelling it, so I'm a little used to it. But just if I can just finish this point,
yeah, whatever, man. Like,
back to what I was saying.
This
is funny. I guess this is what happens when you get used to it, when you are on the ground in the middle of a violent conflict. But I don't know. I can't imagine myself just after witnessing that. Like Rocky was looking right up like this and saying incoming, and now he's like, yeah, whatever. So I was saying, he doesn't even care.
Odessa.
Yeah. Before we were rudely interrupted.
Yeah. By this missile.
When the Russians were shelling it, so I'm a little used to it. But just if I can just finish this point, there's a lot of banging going on, but anyway, we'll keep going.
Well, look, if you need to stop, Douglas, we understand.
No, don't worry. If we need to stop, I'll run to the shelter, I assure you. The thing that struck me, Piers, about seeing the 7th of October footage was that even the Nazis were actually ashamed of what they did. SS battalions who spent their days shooting Jews in the back of the head and pushing them into trenches had to get very, very drunk in the evening to forget what they had done. The Nazi high command famously had to sort of get around the problem of soldier morale because the soldiers knew this wasn't exactly what their lives were meant to look like either. I tell you one very big difference.
This is a thing. This is a very problematic thing to talk about, according to some people. But I think this also became a controversy yesterday or so. There was Douglas Murray was trending on Twitter, and some people were accusing him of downplaying the guilt that the Nazis had and saying the Nazis were not bad people and stuff like that, which is not at all what he's saying. Not at all what he's saying here.
Yeah, you're
not at all what he said anywhere.
Yeah, Nazis are scumbags.
Yeah.
He's pointing out that lots of Nazis were not proud of what they're doing. Their excuse when they're at their trials and so on, we were just following orders and so on. Some of them were just following orders. The point is, you shouldn't have followed the orders. You're scum for following the orders. But lots of them weren't proud of it. Lots of them knew they were doing horrible things, and it was just, oh, okay, well, I mean, I have to do it, otherwise I'm going to be condemned as well, and suffer the same fate. But there's a massive difference. And keep in mind, there were Germans who loved what they were doing. There were Nazis who loved what they were doing. There were very sick people who loved what they were doing. The point is, you take like the worst of the Nazis, the ones who actually enjoyed it. That's like Hamas.
Yeah. And what he just said and what he explained about many of the Nazis, not loving what they were doing and actually regretting it and feeling shame. This is actually not a new thing to say. It's not revisionism. Some people say, "Oh no, she's trying to depict them as good guys." No, this is actually known. There's a term for it in law and in psychology. It's known as superior orders or Nazi. Let's see, what was that? The Nuremberg defense. Here this is superior orders or the Nuremberg defense or just following orders is a plea in a court of law that a person, so it is directly named after the Nuremberg trials, the trials of the Nazis, because it came up a lot and made things actually very difficult for the judges here, because people thought they're just going to go through this and punish all of the Nazis and kill them for what they have done. But it turned out many of them were saying, I didn't really think any of this through. I was just doing whatever I was told. And another thing is there is this, about this, the Milgram experiment.
Yeah, it's like your average person, the average person. You could take an average person off the street and put a button in front of him that is torturing another person. As long as that's a person in authority telling him to torture that other person, that person will just keep torturing him.
Yeah.
If you're just told by an authority figure, keep pushing this button that tortures that person.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do it.
If you're told, hey, there is no need to worry, everything is cool, everything is okay, just do what I say, and you might at least at first question, but then after a while you're like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll just do it. This is a very famous psychology experiment, which is well known now. So
yeah, I studied. I studied this years ago, and if I recall, the apparent thought in the realm of psychology is that somewhere around 60% of random people, if they were in those circumstances, if they're raised in those circumstances and so on, they'd have been very similar. They'd have done the exact same thing. So the point is, most people would do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But the point is, they would do it and still regret it. They would do it. They would follow orders, but they would still understand I'm doing something messed up, and they would still have remorse later for what they're doing. That is not what Hamas.
Yeah.
They weren't. Oh yeah, regrettably, we're killing and raping these chicks.
He's going to talk about the contrast here. So a lot of the Nazis, they were regretting it. They were trying to hide it. The Nazi leaders were trying to hide it. They had an elaborate plan to blow up the extermination camps after they were used, but not Hamas. Hamas is very proud.
If you look at the footage, the raw footage, and I really hope people don't on a wider scale have to view what I viewed the other day. If they see it, they will see something that is at least as barbaric as what the Nazis did. But here's the difference. They did it with glee. They were deeply proud. You see people trying to, taking the head off a young Israeli man with a shovel, and then calling their parents back in Gaza and telling them, Father, I've killed 10 Jews with my own hands. Get mother on the phone. I want to tell her how great a job her son has done. I come back to this thing. I'm not exaggerating this. It's very, very interesting, and people need to realize you had this situation with with the Nazis, where they also were a genocidal anti-Semitic organization, but they tried to cover their crimes up. Hamas are actually proud of them, and they've said they will do them until the whole world is clear of Jews.
Yeah.
So I suggest,
and that's why there are some people who say, "Oh, so many people are saying Hamas is worse than Nazis. How dare you say such a horrible thing?" No, I agree. I would say that Hamas is in many ways worse than the Nazis.
Yeah,
many ways worse,
I would-
especially more ruthless and more violent and vile, and open in their aim to destroy the Jews.
I would qualify it and say that some of the Nazis are basically on par with Hamas. That they're somewhere in the ballpark. But I would say, yeah, lots of the Nazis who didn't love what they were doing. Yeah, they're in a different category.
Yeah, I would say Hitler himself. I mean, he was Hitler himself, Goebbels, Heinrich Himmler. I don't know, people like these who were at the top of actually devising these plans and justifying the extermination of Jews and all of that. These people were horrible people. They were they were by no means average people. They were horrible people. But Hamas is pretty much comparable to them, if not worse. I would say. I don't know. It's because, as said, those people still had in mind this whole thing. Hey, what we're doing right now, this is very problematic. We have to hide it. We have to cover it up. We have to find an excuse to it. We have to, make it look like something else. We have to downplay it, not be very explicit about it, and so on. Whereas Hamas, they're just very proud of it. They're very happy about it.
They're proud of that.
They're proud of that.
And you can see this. It comes up in movies like the Adrian Brody and the Pianist. So that guy, but he was hiding. So he was a Jew in hiding.
You're hiding, boy.
And he goes looking for a can of food, and it's a German, I don't know what the guy was, captain, or he was some sort of military leader, but he's a Nazi military leader. Spots him, but like keeps it quiet. So you had people who outwardly they would follow their orders and so on. If it's behind the scenes and they're not they don't have a crowd of other Nazis around them, they're like, okay, you need to hide. I'm going to bring you some food. I'm going to help you out and so on. So anyway, again, you had plenty of scumbags, and even the guys who were just following orders, they're scumbags. But you had lots of people who are not, their intention, if you ask them what they want to do, they don't just want to kill Jews. If you ask Hamas what you want to do, yeah, I want to wipe out Israel. I want to wipe them off the map.
Yeah. This is the call that he just mentioned, the call between a Hamas terrorist and his parents, where he was very happy about what he did.
الو يابا يابا انا قاعد اكلمك من جوبا بسيم. افتح الواتس تبعه قول له وين شوف كيف قتله، شوف كيف قتلت بيدي يابا، ابنك قتل يهود، هاي دخلوا بسيم يابا. الله اكبر، ربنا يحميك يا رب، ربنا يحميك يابا، ربنا يحميك.
He says, I killed Jews with my own hands. And he says, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, may Allah protect you.
Yes, I knew all those years of watching Farfour would help you.
Yeah, I'm so happy we let you watch Farfour. It really taught you amazing things.
Farfour would be so proud of you, my son.
We're so proud of you. We're so
Farfour
proud of you.
is weeping from heaven, weeping tears of joy.
I killed 10 people with my bare hands.
Is that Farfour?
He repeatedly proudly says that he killed 10 Jews. Let me speak to him. I killed more than 10 Jews. Mom, I did it. Your son is, be proud of your son. Your son killed more than 10 Jews. This is What do you say?
We take that seriously, and I think that Israel is taking it seriously. I hope they continue to take it seriously, but I think the world should take it seriously, and that includes Britain. And when I hear British journalists, British commentators, and British politicians lecturing the Israelis on what they should do, I think, I'm sorry, this shows a failing in our country. It shows that we in Britain cannot enforce our laws. We don't even enforce our borders in Britain. It's us that is the weak link in the international security chain on this, not Israel.
Douglas, how does this war end? Netanyahu said yesterday that he sees at the end of this, Gaza falling under Israel occupation for an indefinite period. Now, there are many people in Israel who absolutely want Netanyahu out and hold him accountable for what happened on October the 7th in this terms of the failing of defense and security. He's deeply unpopular now amongst his own people. But this whole idea that you somehow reconcile this 75-year conflict, which has blown up into warfare time and time again, by Israel ending up as a completely occupying force, that seems to me utterly untenable.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking at a different thing on the one side, which is a video where I want to put it on the screen just for a second, if I can, but seemingly I can't. But it's a video of basically these two guys capturing an Israeli woman and saying in Arabic, "This is one of the dogs of the Jews. We'll keep her as a concubine, as a sex slave. We're in their lands now. We'll do whatever we want. We're coming," or something like that.
And then the response of the entire world is, okay, but be very calm and moderate in your response to these guys.
And also make sure to not be Islamophobic.
Yeah.
من الكلاب اليهوديين هاي مسكنا واحدة وهنسيبوها أي واحد زلمة بدنا نشوف إيش بدنا.
So they have a girl there who's crying in filth, and it says that's one of the Jewish dogs. We captured her as a concubine. We'll capture anyone we capture will be dealt with. We're in their lands now. And the other one says, film her. Yeah. And all of the footage that we have seen that are available to the public, or that are on some sites, are not even half of what was shown to independent international reporters in what the IDF showed to them. The IDF invited independent reporters from all kinds of sources from around the world and showed them many of the atrocities in uncensored form. I think Douglas Murray was part of that. Another one, Graham Wood, whose book I have here, it's called The Way of the Strangers. He was part of that. He talked about it. He said, I was disgusted, and I don't think I can forget it. A lot of they've seen much more, and I'm really curious to hear what exactly they've seen.
Well, I think that, I mean, look, it's too early to tell. I would just say this, and I've said this before, but Israel is one of the only countries in the world that's never allowed to win a conflict. It has been left with this question of the Palestinians in the West Bank, the question of the Palestinians in Gaza. It's been left with this for years. And by the way, I say left with it because, remember, the Jordanians could solve the problem in the West Bank immediately by taking the Palestinians therein or taking some kind of control. They don't want to. The Egyptians, I have friends who were born in Gaza when it was owned by the Egyptians, run by the Egyptians. The Egyptians could solve the Gaza problem tomorrow by allowing the Gazans into Egypt or taking control of the Gaza themselves. Nobody wants the Palestinians people. And there's this endless mistake that is being made, and it has been made all my lifetime, certainly, which is that there's this unsolved problem, but it is the job of the Israelis to solve it. What is happening behind me is a demonstration of the fact that it is an insoluble problem that the Israelis keep being told to solve. Gaza, ever since the Israelis left it in 2005, could have become Singapore. It could have become a thriving place. But Hamas didn't want that. They wanted to turn it into a place. Instead of building upwards, they built downwards. Instead of building great buildings, they built great tunnels.
This is perfect.
This is a tragedy for the Palestinian peoples, but it's one that has been brought on them by groups like Hamas who do not want a settlement in this war.
Douglas Murray, so powerful to talk to you there on the Gaza border.
Powerful stuff.
And I'm glad that you came through what was a pretty scary moment in the middle of that interview. And I appreciate you coming back and continuing the interview as if nothing had happened. Quite remarkable to witness, I have to say, from the safety of my London studio. But I do appreciate it, and stay safe out there.
But
sorry,
how does he have all the courage? Isn't he gay? Like, I don't understand. Aren't people saying that that you have to be a real man and stuff like that to be brave and to conduct an interview while there are rockets flying?
Well, that's why he's got a bullet. That's why he's got a bulletproof vest on, man. See?
Oh, because he's gay.
He's got body armor.
Yeah, okay, I see. Okay. That's what I would hear from these guys around the world. I thought this is a perfect tweet here. Amy Jewell, whom I follow. Jew hatred is at an all-time high since the 1930s and 40s. That is why we must do all we can to combat Islamophobia.
That's how it is. I mean, it's crazy. You'd think that this is like a complete joke, but we've seen that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this! People marching through the streets calling for the extermination of Jews. We really need to be concerned about Islamophobia. And then there's that Norm joke from like 7 years ago when it was ISIS. And he says, the thing that really terrifies me is what if ISIS actually managed to get a nuclear bomb in the U.S., killing millions of Americans? Think about all the Islamophobia.
Here it is. What terrifies me is if ISIS were to detonate a nuclear device and kill 50 million Americans. Imagine the backlash against peaceful Muslims.
Norm.
Perfect. It's fun to joke about things that we all should be a little bit sad and concerned about. Yeah, that's just how it is, man. That's how it is. Kaizen Dev said Israel is a colonial state set up by Jews with Middle Eastern DNA, while modern Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan were all established by England and France. Well, Sid Dave said, don't want this to happen, but I think these extremist Muslims will awaken forces in the West that have been dormant for 80 years. They will cry victim then. I pointed this out a while ago as well, and many others do too, which is that's the whole wave of Islamists walking around the Western world right now, shouting all kinds of things. This will probably bring an overcorrection that will probably not be pretty. And right-wing parties that will go into different directions will rise and will get more and more popularity because of what is happening right now. And people will then say, well, how did this happen?
Yeah.
How did this happen? We don't know how this happened.
And the correct response will be, hey, but lots of people wanted to deal with this peacefully. You shut down everyone. You consistently shut down everyone who wanted to deal with it peacefully. And then people got desperate.
But how did this happen? How? We will never know how this happened. It's probably just because people are racist. Sid Dave said Muslims in the West have no achievement despite access to Western infrastructure. Immigrants who have established tech companies won Nobel have come from India, China, Japan, Eastern Europe, all non-Muslims. This is very Islamophobic. Shame on you, Sid Dave.
Pretty bigoted.
Sid Dave said, does anyone remember last time Muslims won a war against a non-Muslim nation? More than 170 years, all the incantations to Allah don't seem to work. This is very, very Islamophobic. Go check.
And by the way, that's the reasoning behind that's the Muslim Brotherhood, that's ISIS, that's the Iranian Revolution. These were all based on the idea of why isn't Allah supporting us? We must not be devout enough, and therefore the first step is really cracking down on any sort of heresy or innovation in our own community, and then Allah will bless us to conquer the rest of the world. And then notice then you had ISIS actually try it out. We'll go around, we'll kill all the Shias, we'll do everything, and it didn't work out.
Alhamdulillah. Beautiful, powerful stuff. The real mass crusade, the Jews made us attack them in 1973.
Mm-hmm. Why did they do this to us? How could they make us attack them?
Look what they made me do. Christensen at Turnham said it might be even safe for Douglas to go into Gaza since there aren't many rooftops left to Stop it. Stop it. It's not funny. Carson Dan said it's all started when the evil Yahud hit his bag. Gene Carpera said, having much fun listening to you. I'm an Israeli unable to pass Palestine aid organization's request because it's useless. The IDF will bomb them anyway. They are not interested in the people of Gaza. Yeah. Man,
Hey, here's an idea, Hamas. Surrender and hand over the hostages. Save a lot of lives. You'll save a lot of lives.
But that's very bigoted. You're just approving genocide right now. You're justifying genocide right now by saying that. Gordon's Bulldozer says, AP, what was the food like under Islam?
Yeah, what do you guys? What did you guys eat in Turkey? And I assume you don't eat turkey, but like, how does it compare with? Because you guys are kind of in the middle of. I know what Greek food is like, and I know what Arab food is like. But what's what you guys in between, or closer
Turkish
to one or the
food
other?
is generally considered Mediterranean food, so it's kind of close to Greek and Balkan and Italian, like that kind of. That's fair.
You have hummus there?
I've never had it except once, I think, and I thought that is disgusting.
You've never had hummus?
Like, I had it once and I thought this is disgusting.
Did you have tzatziki?
Yeah, that's actually in Turkish known as cacık.
Okay, so that's what. So you said it sounds closer to Greece than it does to like Arabia.
Greece and so Greek food and Turkish food has a lot in common. They share lots of things. There are in fact there's lots of fighting about who had it first and who stole it from who. And what people don't seem to understand is that it's just normal cultural exchanges, interactions, affecting each other. Who cares who got it first? But they like to fight about it. Like Turkish coffee, Turkish tea. They say Greek coffee, Greek tea, or all kinds of different foods. There's a Turkish kebab. They call that the gyros, for example, is in Turkey known as the Turkish kebab.
I had some little Greek coffees that was basically like mud. Is that a Turkish?
Yeah. They do it slightly differently, but it's basically the same thing in Turkey and in Greece. It's a very interesting kind of coffee. Yeah. Douglas Murray achieved what Mojab couldn't. He made Piers stutter. Calling out pedophilia, Momo is frowned upon, but supporting terrorists is okay. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. You can't call out pedophiles, man. What? Nope. Don't be Islamophobic. All of this talk just reminded me of something here, of Christopher Hitchens.
This is very urgent business, ladies and gentlemen. I beseech you. Resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next thing. You will be told you can't complain because you're Islamophobic. The term is already being introduced into the culture.
This is back when it was being introduced.
Yeah, this is 2009, but
now it's all we hear all day, every day.
Yeah, quite prophetic.
Hey, he's there with John Lennox.
Race hatred, for example, or bigotry, whereas it's only the objection to the preachings of a very extreme and absolutist religion. Watch out for these symptoms. They are just symptoms of surrender, very often ecumenically offered to you by men of God in other robes, Christian and Jewish and smarmy ecumenical. These are the ones who will hold open the gates for the barbarians. The barbarians never take a city till someone holds the gates open for them.
It's funny. He's sitting there. He's sitting there saying this beside John Lennox, who's a Christian mathematician. He's got like 3 doctorates and sounds like a leprechaun. But he's just yeah. Oh, you're right there. Hearts, yes. Hearts, clovers, diamonds, horseshoes, whatever he said.
Is that a cross? Are they in a church or something? What is this?
It's probably some sort of discussion between an atheist and a Christian if they've got John Lennox there and Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah.
So we'll do it for you, and your own multicultural authorities who will do it for you. Resist it while you can.
This guy should be alive right now, man.
Yeah, and people really don't understand the point. Back then, the ideal was resist it while you can still do so peacefully before you eventually end up in situations where it's going to be a bloodbath. Deal with it now, because you can't keep pushing people forever before they start reacting in ways that go beyond speech. And nope, everyone just shut up, don't talk about it, don't talk about it, don't talk about it. That's Islamophobia, that's Islamophobia, that's Islamophobia. And I got, hundreds of thousands of people marching through streets, daring people to stop them.
As I thought, a lot said, the wrong brother died.
Messed up.
I see why you would say that, because the other brother is not very popular, and I know, and I get it. I know why. I see why, but
that reminds me of when people like when Nabil died. I actually saw comments, "Why Nabil and not David?" Oh my gosh, what the heck?
Man, yeah, Peter Hitchens. That's the brother. He's not very popular. And he has an attitude that people don't like.
Yeah, what's up with these Hitchens brothers, man?
I don't know. But Christopher Hitchens, I don't know, he's brilliant. I love this guy. Wish I had met him when he was alive.
Yeah, he's I mean, think of him. The only one who can really match him in terms of like I mean, Douglas Murray's probably the closest thing as far as just like combining, just zeroing in on some point to make, but then, just saying it in the most epic way possible.
Yeah. Speaking of Peter Hitchens, some people probably know about it, but he recently had an appearance on Alex O'Connor, formerly known as Cosmic Skeptic. He was on his podcast and stormed out and called him all kinds of different things. Famous journalist storms out of interview. I actively dislike
on a number of subjects.
It's really.
I think you.
But this is a very,
wow. He pulled a Matt Dillahunty.
And I'm also sick to death of the people who promote it.
So yeah.
What was he mad about?
This is so funny.
Will you be all right?
You're entitled to use that, by the way. Feel free to do so if you want to. But I think you've had me here on false pretenses.
What?
And if you run this interview, I shall say you had me here on false.
I'm sorry. Which false pretenses?
Wait, where did it start? Hitchens leaves here. I just want to see it.
Something like a re-education.
I think I've had this actually. I think if this is going to be
about re-education camp
on board, if you want drug decriminalization, good luck, and enjoy the society you get as a result. But frankly, I'm sick of the subject, and I'm also sick to death of the people who promote it.
So yeah. Nothing goes out.
But then he stood there for 15 minutes just ranting about like, I don't like you, I don't like this.
Oh, we might have to watch this and do this as a live stream because now I want to see this.
To a conversation about drugs. If you wanted to sit down and talk about the other subject, for instance, God, that was the next one on our list, and we talked about that instead, just to prove to you that I'm not interested in just talking about drugs to you. That's not what I'm trying to do here.
They're talking about drugs?
And I mean that.
The thing
Why
is,
would you flip that over there?
He invited him to talk about his stance on drugs, and that drugs should not be decriminalized and all of that. The very funny thing is, and also about different topics, but he told him in advance that these are the things he wants to talk about with him. He kept talking about drugs, and apparently Peter Hitchens, from the very beginning, he was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I already said a lot of things about this. But the irony is, at the beginning, he complained that people never listened to him and never let him talk about his ideas about why drugs shouldn't be decriminalized. And then he got mad because they kept talking about drugs and said, I'm sick of this. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm leaving now. It's so strange. But even the way he starts.
Suella Braverman last year. Thanks for being here.
So far, so good.
Suella Braverman.
This guy has an attitude problem. Oh boy. Anyway, the real master said Douglas Murray Sheafwood. I already read this. Why are you reading it again? SG said, AP, what scientific miracle proves your atheism?
Burn. He has no scientific miracles. He has no proof. You see? Atheism destroyed live.
Gordo's Bulldozer said Bashar had a fire propaganda song, unlike Hamas. Did he? I never heard it. I know ISIS had a very good propaganda song. It's still one of my favorite songs. DR said day 21 of asking for prophet. I already read this, man.
Yeah. Why are you reading every comment you've already read?
Sid Dave said Pakistan has deported 2 million Afghan Muslims. No concern for the Ummah. If Europe or any non-Muslim do that, we would be called Islamophobic. Well, Pakistan can do whatever they want.
Yeah, you can pretty much go to any place in the Muslim world and see all kinds of atrocities going on consistently. But yeah, if the Jews aren't there, you're not going to hear a peep out of it about it.
Alhamdulillah. Jeff Dribble said, my friends in DR Congo have shared photos they took with kids sitting on their beheaded mothers. Our church is heavily in that area. Yeah. Because we talked about it earlier. The warden said, Islamists will force UK police to eventually carry more guns. They will have to fight fire with fire. Now, even when the UK is like being taken over and Islamists are storming all the government buildings and declaring we will turn this into Sharia, they will probably still be like, okay, all right, guys, calm down. It's not that bad. We've got it under control. And stop being racist, please. You're being very Islamophobic right now. It's not that bad. And that's probably what they will say. And it will all be, and they will still be there. Like when they are being put to death for blasphemy or for opposing the caliphate, they'll be like, all right, it's all right. Just remember, it's not all Muslims.
Yeah, just as we were willing to sacrifice our daughters on the altar of political correctness, we are willing to be sacrificed right now and beheaded in the name of Allah to show you all how tolerant we are.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant. We'll be watching.
Yeah.
We're proud of that.
Sid Dave said, I would love Israeli forces to go full Mongol Genghis Khan on Hamas, build a tower of Hamas skulls. Medieval stuff is what these jihadis need. This is very Islamophobic and Hamasophobic.
And by the way, that this is all connected, guys. I'm not saying anything is right when I'm saying this. I'm just saying human nature and psychology wise, the marches through the streets and just targeting people around the world and harassing Jews around the world and so on. One, you're not just going to get a fed up Western nations who realize they have to deal with the problem. You're also going to get tons of Westerners, politicians, journalists, and so on, who are then on the side of Israel as far as escalating. They're like, oh, we're starting to understand what you're dealing with. Do as you will. That's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. So anyone who all these Dawa guys who think they're really winning now, my goodness, you guys have no clue. You have no clue what's coming up. Again, I'm not saying I want to say I don't want to see this. I'm saying this is what you keep forcing people into.
The UK will soon become the United Caliphate, inshallah. David Kazaj said AP's English accent is so cool. Thank you. I didn't think much of it, but this basically also implicitly says David's was horrible.
That is. I knew that as soon as I saw that.
Yeah,
because I saw David, then I saw Awesome X. I was like, oh yeah, he's talking about me. And oh wait, he's talking about AP. But I've told him sometimes when I'm hearing AP do Jordan Peterson now, like if I were not looking, I was like, hey, is that Jordan Peterson?
I think
you're crushing it.
When I do a Jordan Peterson impression, I sometimes feel like it's Jordan Peterson talking. I can't even tell.
Sometimes you're like, am I Jordan Peterson?
White Lily said, do the Farfour dance.
That random dance, someone's dying, and he's like,
the grandpa is dying, and Farfour is like, so weird.
Gonna inherit grandpa's key, and I'm gonna get grandpa's deed that shows all of Israel is mine. Tel Aviv.
Man. Insoluble problems. What is going on here? Let's have a look at it.
What's going on, Governor?
I want to remember that here.
In case anyone forgot the
هذا أمانة معك فرفور اوعى تفرط بالعرض ده فرفور اوعى تفرط بالعرض ده فرفور يا جدي ما تخافش
Farfour the mouse's human grandfather's dying.
Yeah, this is too far. Oh, here.
بالمفتاح بيكون معك لما ترجع البلاد.
It's so random. It just cracks me up.
Got the key, Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is mine.
هذا المفتاح بيكون معك لما ترجع البلاد لما ترجع البلاد بتفتح فيها
Man, this is too much. Against an Ethiopian for Israel said, David, what an apostate prophet. May God bless you. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Thank you. Layman Christian said, how do you guys stay composed when discussing these topics with Muslims? The hypocrisy is so obvious, and I struggle to not let it get to me. God bless. We don't stay composed. David does. I don't.
Yeah, and we don't need to, because we just talk about stuff during live streams.
Yeah. But David is capable of actually, keeping it together and just going through, despite the horrible things they say. Me, not so much. You have probably seen me occasionally here and there just lose it when I talk to people. So, yeah.
I've repeatedly seen AP lose it.
Yeah. André Leblanc said, rename Israel to Palestinian land of Israel, bring that old flag with David's star back, and Jews will be joining the Palestinian protests. Checkmate. Huh. Interesting. Dipsy said, Dajjal Akbar. Great. Somebody said earlier, Birmingham or something like that. Birmingham, because there's lots of Muslims in Birmingham, and yeah.
You think?
Sabi said, it's sad for the poor minorities who migrated to escape Islamists, and now they have to watch them rise to power in the West. Do we do reverse migration? Maybe all Western people should migrate to the Islamic world.
Yeah, and that's I mean, at the rate at which people are apostatizing in Muslim countries might eventually be the non-Muslim countries that people in European Muslim countries have to flee to. In other words, another generation, people might be fleeing England and running to atheist Iran.
That would be a funny turn of events. The next Zekir Naik said, hey, I uploaded a Dawa voice over Farfour the mouse to my channel. Really?
Oh, nice.
Really? Wait,
go ahead, pull it up.
I want to check it out. Did you send me a message? I bet you sent me a message. You can't resist, can you? Yes, you sent me a message. See. I know it. What is this? The next Zakir Naik. Why am I not subscribed? Okay, let's see.
This is a part of our religion. There's a reason why. Yeah, there's a reason why there's a capital punishment, because people like you, little weaklings, who leave their religion and cause corruption in the land by spreading it. The capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt, and we're proud of that. Yeah, not individuals going and doing it themselves like idiots. Yeah, no, under an emir, it is done. Yes, and we, you know what, would be.
Stupid.
Lame.
Stupid. Good. That was good. Michael Stein said, from the river to the UC. Be serious, man. We're talking about a serious topic here, Michael. The dehydrated pie said, much love from Israel, bros. Nasral Hezbollah now shooting. He is going to increase their frequency in the north where I live. To you guys, I say Malatz Kol Hakawad. Thank you. Shalom. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. D. Boudreau said Hamas attended an Islamist conference in Khartoum back in 1995 with Al Qaeda and other terrorist groups from Algeria, Egypt, and North Africa to escalate the armed struggle. Makes sense. Why not? There were ISIS fans and ISIS members among the attackers on October 7 as well, by the way. Sam Scholar said Muslims only care when Jews kill like 10,000 Arabs but are silent when Bashar kills 300,000 Arabs. Why is that? Also watch the video for Rabbi versus Gordito Jink. I saw it. I saw it has a lot of views.
That was against Rabbi Shmuley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a show on that, because Rabbi Shmuley is a good debater. He is because he's done several debates with Michael Brown, and Michael Brown is an awesome debater. So yeah, Rabbi Shmuley is a machine. So yeah, we're gonna have to watch the exchange with him and Cenk.
Yeah. Jim Burns said, "From the river into the sea, make those Hamas terrorists flee." Just a slight change in wording to the terrorists. Oh, that's good. It's 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 good. Alexei Nizardze said, "Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me, a sinner."
See, you said the words.
Yeah, I did. I think this is from the country Georgia. I know. I recognize. Okay, there's a flag. Yeah, but I recognize the last name too.
Georgia's a state. AP, come on. You live in the U.S. You don't even know Georgia. Come on.
Helen Aragis made a super sticker, which I cannot see, but I bet it's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. David Kazachi became a member of the channel. Welcome to the club. Sid Day finally became a member as well. Welcome to the club. What were you waiting for? Farfour said, "Why are you stuttering? You see." Zaire Bio said, "Sorry if I'm related, but can you tell me more about the guy sneaking out of Momo's bedroom each night that he explained away as being Gabriel? Or am I misunderstanding? Reference, stunning information, by the way." This is Dihya, but go ahead, David.
Yeah, that's not. You don't have a lot of details. You have a situation where Muhammad, and it's not like climbing out of his window or something like this. There are multiple hadiths where Muhammad is talking to different wives, and he's talking about his, having a Diha al-Kalbis over his house and so on. And then he would ask his wives, "Hey, who was I just talking to?" And they would say, "Diha." And he would go, No, that was the angel Gabriel. He's appearing as Diha al-Kalbi. So from an Islamic perspective, it's just, no, Gabriel either just happens to look exactly like Diha al-Kalbi, or Gabriel is taking on the appearance of Diha al-Kalbi, because Diha al-Kalbi is like the hottest dude in Arabia. But I mean, if I saw someone, he's with a guy, and the guy leaving, "Oh yeah, that was an angel," it'd be like, are you serious? Are you like, really? Seriously? Guys leave it. Guys, you're with a guy, the guy heads out, and you say, "Oh yeah, that was the angel Gabriel." Seriously?
That sounds very suspicious.
That's the thing. It sounds suspicious, right? You don't have enough details to say, "Oh yeah, he was getting banged by Diha." What's funny is it's Diha al-Kalbi, Diha the dog. So, and I'll just say, I'm to the point. I want to make a video about this, right? So you have this with Diha al-Kalbi. You look at it and it's suspicious. You have all the hadiths about Muhammad being covered in semen, and so there's all this stuff that's like very, very suspicious. And what I'm going to argue in a video is, when you've got Daniel Hakikachu and all the Dawa guys, and they just flat out lie. I mean, flat out lie. Like, "Oh yeah, Mary was 12. It says so in the Catholic Encyclopedia." No, it doesn't. It does not say that. It says the opposite. It says they have no clue, right? So when they lie like that, and you sit there and think, okay, these guys are consistently lying, I'm not going to advocate lying in return. I'm not going to do that. But I will advocate not giving the benefit of the doubt when things look suspicious in return. In other words, if Muhammad's hanging out with Diha al-Kalbi and saying, "Oh yeah, that's the angel Gabriel," okay, fine, no more benefit of the doubt. He's getting banged by Diha al-Kalbi, and it was happening doggy style, and all that semen all over his clothes. Yeah, that's from his buddy Diha, and who knows who else. And so it's just going to be no more benefit of the doubt. When you've got these hadiths about Muhammad, and it will say that he was in his wife's garments, and you've got people say, "Oh yeah, there it means blanket. There it means blanket," even though the word means garment. But there it means blanket, or there it means he was in her house, even though there's perfectly good Arabic word for house. This is the word for garment. And so, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, maybe it does mean something else in that context. It says he was in his wife's garments, right? So, okay, now just no more benefit of the doubt. No more benefit of the doubt. If it says he was in his wife's garments, fine. Muhammad was prancing around in his child bride's nightie. No, do not tell me that it means house. Do not tell me any of that nonsense. I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt anymore. Your prophet was a sicko pervert. No further questions.
Alhamdulillah. And that solves the problem. This is how we end Islam.
Problem solved.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Zaya Boya, I already read this. Unicorn said, I think one origin of anti-Semitism is that Jews were the first group of slaves who told their story of emancipation, wrote it, and taught mass literacy to people. Slavers didn't like that. Possibly. Nietzsche has a very interesting take on Jews and Jewish religious belief and Jewish writings and stories as kind of coming from a place of resentment, as people who are oppressed and who then turn things around against the oppressor and turn their oppressed status into something virtuous and something great, and that then being adopted in the Western world leads it to becoming a very influential way of thinking and believing in things. But that's just Nietzsche. And I know David is going to say, "What, Nietzsche? What is Nietzsche? Why would you listen to Nietzsche?" But
my view is most overrated philosopher in history, but some brilliant insights on some things.
You are the most overrated philosopher in history. Doesn't even make sense. But Layla Khalid from PFLP and A&M, who goes around colleges. This is how young people of Western countries getting brainwashed. Maybe do a live on that, please. I there was a controversy about her and that stupid woman who was famous recently for the Women's March issue.
Who, Linda Sarsour?
Yeah, Linda Sarsour. In connection to Layla Khalid, I think. I don't exactly remember if that was what was going on, but that might be something worth covering. Shiva said, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Israel. Oh no, now everyone knows that I can read this. Jeez, I just gave it away. Now everyone knows that I can read Hebrew.
No, they don't. Just say you made it up.
Oh, yeah, I made it up. It doesn't say Shalom, Shalom. I made it up. Thank you, Shiva, for the super chat. Though I unfortunately I can't read what it says. Although I think it says Shalom, Shalom. But yeah, yes. I actually just looked it up. David Kazashi said, David, as a Christian, I'm called to love everyone, but every time I see the news, I get mad at Hamas and these moronic civilians. How do I still love them? My love for the victims makes me hate them. Just, yeah.
Keep in mind the Christian concept of love isn't about some warm fuzzy feeling. It's more like you're pursuing the best for everyone. So this does not involve necessarily being nice. In fact, I get this all the time from Muslims when I'm criticizing Muhammad. It's you say Christians are all about love, but you're making fun of our prophet. Yeah, I mean, if I didn't love you, I've just let you spend your entire lives serving the most obvious false prophet in history. That's the least loving thing I could possibly do, as far as I'm concerned. So as far as, I mean, if you're talking about Hamas jihadis and what it would mean to love Hamas jihadis, then you should want what's best for them and really want them to go turn themselves in and face judgment for the things they've done. That's the best outcome for them. Because keep in mind, they're going to have to, from a Christian perspective, they're going to have to stand before the Almighty and give an account one day. The sooner they are apprehended and punished, the less they'll have to answer for on Judgment Day. And then what you would hope is that as they're awaiting trial or punishment or whatever in an Israeli jail, that son of Hamas comes and talks to them and they have the same experience that he did.
That's the most Islamophobic thing I've heard in my life.
Yeah, because you're an atheist.
Thank you.
Oh wait, hey, I just got a message from Black Angel said that rabbi. So I'm assuming she's talking about since we're talking about Rabbi Shmuley is going to debate Muhammad Hijab on Piers Morgan's show.
Okay, when?
I don't know, but that's awesome.
That's interesting. That's funny. Ziv Atad said.
Oh wait, no. Yeah. She sent a tweet from Rabbi Shmuley. Says, I am being asked to debate this guy, Muhammad Hijab, And it's got a clip of Muhammad Hijab's, probably not pretty, on Piers Morgan. I see that he says the Jews are now shivering and trembling. Dude, we fear none but God alone. Let's get ready to rumble. Hashtag never again is now. He's messing with the wrong one. They said Rabbi Shmuel's not gonna back down an inch.
Woohoo! That sounds fiery. Zivatad said Atar Bemet Kore Ivrit Magniv. Which means you really read Hebrew. Cool. Yeah.
What the heck?
What the heck? The Real Masker said, can we get Mickey Marcher versus Murray in Prophet Tales? Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. That would be cool. Msema Msaki said, only moral agents can do wrong, so Palestinians aren't moral agents. It's unfair for Israel to be blamed only, but by these standards, Palestine can't be good. This is challenging you here, David. Zayo Bio said, stop showing Islamophobic evidence. I know, this is disgusting, everything we're doing right now. Real Masker said, the Jews don't supply us with condoms, genocide. Mr. Krang said, video going around from a nurse in Gaza hospital saying Hamas is taking supplies, morphine, etc. from patients leaving medical staff with nothing. I saw a video earlier, but I think that the consensus at the moment is that that video is fake. It is staged by some random person. Not even by, not by Israel or anyone, but I believe that the general consensus on that right now is that it doesn't seem very authentic. So wouldn't necessarily take that at face value as true. John Burns 007 said, yesterday on Armistice Day, there was a pro-Palestinian rally in our city center. Many were young children waving Palestinian flags, wearing Palestinian head coverings. Very sad propaganda victims. It is indeed true. That is true. And you know what? If I was still a Muslim, if I was the same Muslim that I was raised as by my parents, and I was experiencing these times right now, and I was still holding on to that mindset, I would probably think, hey, I'm proud of what I'm seeing here. I'm proud of so much Islam rising here in the West. Inshallah, it will come true soon. We will more and more turn this into Islamic land. The future is bright. It's wonderful. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Allah. Thank you for this. I hope I see those days. That's what I would think now. But in my current state, I just want to go back to. I want to go to that hypothetical state of me and just punch. I'm not saying that it's punch to somebody to punch somebody who holds such views. I'm saying that's what I would do to myself. So don't misinterpret me. I don't know why David is grinning this whole time. But
I just remembered Rabbi Shmuel. One day, I remember seeing him years ago, and he was talking to the president of American Atheists, and they were having this little debate, and it was about morality. And the president of American Atheists back then said, she said, well, we atheists, we have a concept of morality too. We understand that in order to get the most out of life, we need a world where people follow moral rules and so on. And so we, even as atheists who are only interested in, she was couching everything in terms of self-interest, even though we're just interested in how life goes for ourselves. Guess what? That works best. We get the best out of life if everyone is following rules, and so we don't have anarchy. And Rabbi Shmuel goes, "Is that what you teach to your children? That you do everything out of selfishness? You encourage morality out of selfishness? That's sick." But I was just thinking, like, this guy, he just doesn't hold back. He just goes right for the throat every time. So anyway, it's going to be hilarious. I think he'll crush Muhammad Hijab.
Yeah. That is a moral system, though, which some people, which is often
there's a. Notice that's correct. Like if you say, "Oh, okay, hey, I'm an atheist," even if my primary guiding principle were like self-protection and so on, well, guess what? That you do preserve yourself at best in a world where people are following certain rules and so on, and it's not a free-for-all. It's just like him pointing back. That what you tell your kids, like, "Hey, why do I need to do this, mommy? Because that's in your best self-interest in the long term. That's how you get the most bang for your buck in life, is if you tell other people to follow these rules." because it works out for you. He's, I don't know, something weird about that.
Much as Apostate Ashkenazi is the new Nazi, your mom is the new Nazi. Shut up.
He's mad because I'm 2.7% Ashkenazi.
Yeah.
That 2.7% on my genetic test, it specifically said Ashkenazi Jew. So
it did.
So that guy's just talking trash about me. Yeah. Say something again, punk.
I had mine entered on family tree DNA and it said that I'm possibly 12% Sephardic Jewish, but that's probably complete nonsense.
Whoa, you're way more Jewish than I am.
Yeah,
and again, I'm a kosher as Christmas, son.
That's total nonsense. I actually took my test on ancestry DNA, and it doesn't say any such thing at all. Nothing like that at all. All right, let's move on. RM said, Happy Diwali, celebrating the victory of light over darkness and knowledge over ignorance. Keep on fighting the good fight in the spirit of Diwali. Thank you. Appreciate that. We don't do Hindu here, though. So, Nehemiah Abraham Patricker said, I should realize that sometimes sarcasm doesn't work in every culture the same way.
You don't know if people are going to understand it. What you're supposed to say when someone brings that up is point out that Michael from The Office had a great Diwali song.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, go watch that. Now, my Abraham Paniker said 57% of Gazans express at least somewhat positive opinion of Hamas. West Bank 52%, and East Jerusalem 64%. About 3/4 of Gazans express support for Palestinian Islamic Jihad and Lion's Den. Yeah, I think that on the most recent polls, Palestinian Islamic Jihad or Lion's Den, one of those two, was leading ahead of even Hamas and PLO. So, or Fatah. So, most Palestinians in the Palestinian territories are very much fans of terrorist organizations. Sad. The Real Massacre said, this is why God created hell. Exactly. Because of me. Deborah,
I'm going to make a big compilation of just AP agreeing with things that people say about God.
Yeah, I agree. You see, David is 2.7% Nazi.
Oh, actually, I mean, I'm seriously part German, so you can make a better case that way.
Probably.
My grandfather's family was German.
That's good. That means you have some superiority.
Deutschland.
You have some superiority in your DNA, some superhuman DNA. It's good. Deborah literally said, everyone needs to know that it never ends with the Jews. Never. Chinito said, your Mossad handler deposited some Swiss money. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Just don't make it so obvious, though. But I appreciate it. Chuppy said, Dad, how was your date, son? Son, she was great. Her hair blonde like sand, her lips red like apples, her eyes the leather strap of the anus. Man. There's no end to these. How did this even start? Somebody made a super chat, I think, and said,
and they asked us
how do you,
and it's just one of those hadiths, because you normally read the hadiths, you're like looking for stuff on topics, and you're going through, and it's one of those where it doesn't fit in any category, so you just kind of glance at it and keep going and so on until someone like tells you, hey, can you explain this? And now you're like, this is nuts, man. What does this mean? And then you look it up and you're like, that is the dumbest possible way to say what he was trying to say there.
Yeah. Well, but the eyes are the leather strap of the anus, man. It's just facts. This is science. Science tells you that. Exactly. Alhamdulillah. Ismiami said, watching Farfour's widow playing with children in Gaza is like watching Freddy Krueger play with children. Creepy. I put the link in the comments. God bless you guys for all you do. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for what you do. Thanks for what you do. God bless you guys for what you do. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I agree. Nehemiah Abraham Paniker said, according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, aid to Palestinians totaled over 40 billion between 1994 and 2020. Well, and
that purchased a lot of Lamborghinis and a lot of tunnels.
and Bugattis and missiles and tunnels and
A lot of
TV shows
prostitutes.
for little kids and
A lot of
prostitutes.
a lot of
Yeah.
mutta marriages.
Alhamdulillah, beautiful. This is exactly what needs to be done.
Mhm.
This is how the problem will be solved. Free Palestine.
Just give them more money. Give them more money. Even more Bugattis and more prostitutes and more hotels and more houses and
Hotels, yeah. No pun intended.
and more tunnels. More
Yeah.
tunnels.
Yeah, more tunnels. That's how the problem will be solved
Hotel,
forever.
motel, Holiday Inn.
Oh, yeah. All right. What else here? What else here? There was another Hebrew comment here that I quickly wanted to read. Anyway, but here. What would you think Shaky Booty's approach to this war
Yeah,
would be?
how are you not making Shake Your Booty responses to everything that's going on?
I told him, but he is not in the mood, I think, or something. I don't know. AB, what would you think Shaky Booty's approach to this war would be? Is his approach multifaceted or simple? I think Shaky Booty is just proud of it. He's proud of it. Proud of that. Sinito said the eternal debate about baklava rages on. There is that debate too between the Greek and the Turkish people. Even yogurt. Greek and Turks fight over yogurt. Like who introduced it? Who took it from who? It's stupid. Marisa Kennedy said, wasn't she 6 years old when he thawed her? Yeah.
That is an interpretation of some of the sources where he talks about fondling virgins or something you do with girls who aren't yet big enough to bear the weight of a man for sex and so on. But he talks about the fondling of virgins and why it's actually even better than sex with a grown woman. And so, yeah, what is he talking about? And it's actually, I mean, there are Muslim commentators who say that this refers to a practice of thighing, where you.
Alhamdulillah.
Hang on, I'm gonna go check on my kid.
Okay. Sigmund of Copyright Music said, have you seen the video of IDF soldiers dancing and singing the Palestinians don't have water and electricity? Can you refute the clip? I'm not sure if there's anything to refute. I haven't seen anything like that. Might have a look. Not something that I necessarily want to have a look at. There's a lot from both sides that I haven't had a look at or haven't bothered showing even or analyzing. Gorno's Bulldozer said, imagine you take 7 tabs of acid and you meet Muhammad. He proceeds to say, I messed up, man. I need your help. Can you help me? What do you do? I will get back to you once I do that and once it happens to me. Tales of McDonald said, what did you think of Dillahunty versus Andrew Wilson? I will save this question for David. Mr. L said, how do I convince you to watch and comment on the video Israel Unbiased History that is 9 minutes and 45 seconds long? I promise to stop the straps jokes. Let me see. It's called Israel Unbiased History. That sounds very biased. Israel Unbiased History. Let's see. That sounds like the most biased thing I've heard in my entire life. Israel Unbiased History. Unless I agree with it, then it's not biased. But let's see.
I thought I heard crying. It was actually hysterical laughing that I heard.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. I will check it out.
It was funny. He took a picture of himself and with one of the effects that made his face all distorted, and he started cracking up laughing.
Oh yeah.
Ancestral land of the Jewish people. Few dare tell its great history. Many
check it out. I might check it out. I'll see it. I hope it's not a joke. Gorn's Bulldozer said it's called God, Syria, and Bashar. Sid Dave, you know what's funny about Bashar Assad? He has a so Bashar Assad, the president, the dictator of Syria, and his father too. They are officially Muslims, but they belong to a very distinct sect of Islam that is popular in the whole in the movement that they belong to and in Syria, and their sect is called Alawi, which is unlike the Turkish Shia sect Alevi. They are different, and they have this weird. They're not really Muslims. So the theory is that they only pretend to be Muslims because that's what keeps them in power and what allows them to rule. And but they believe in some really some distorted un-Islamic things, like some really weird, messed up, mystical stuff, reincarnation. I don't know. They have a bunch of strange beliefs. I need to look into that before I talk about it further, but I remember reading about that stuff like 10 years ago. But they are not really considered Muslims by the Muslims. So, yeah, interesting stuff.
I like the way Rashid pointed it out. He says, we hear about these, 2 billion Muslims and so on, but every group's going to say, they're not Muslims, they're not Muslims, they're not Muslims, they're not Muslims, they're not Muslims. And he said, eventually get down to one Muslim in his mosque saying, I'm the only Muslim.
Yeah. Canadian Sunset said supposed to be an offshoot of Shiaism. Yeah, it is an offshoot of Shia Islam, but it's very disconnected from traditional Islamic beliefs and practices, and they don't even I think engage in the actual prayer and stuff. Sid Dave said Muslims claim there are no mistakes in the Quran. Opposite is true. There is not a single thing that the Quran gets right. Everything is wrong. Historical figures, religious myths, claims about nature, all BS.
We just went through this. The Quran does not get everything wrong. The Quran says there are mountains.
That's true. Yeah.
The Quran says there is a sun.
So go correct.
There is a moon. There is a moon. There are stars. It'll say stupid things like stars are missiles that Allah uses to shoot demons, but you can't overlook the fact that the Quran is correct that there are stars.
Yeah, so go correct yourself.
In your face.
In your face, man. Sid Dave, in your face. Rocco said, Apostate Prophet, Alawites believe that there have been 7 incarnations of a Trinity. They believe Ali was literally the physical manifestation of God the Son, Muhammad the Father, and a cleric the... What in the hell? I need to look into that further. I don't really know much about their beliefs, but I know that they are very, very outlandish in the regular Muslim tradition. I know that some Shia sects went so far that they began saying that Ali was the actual prophet, or that they started worshiping Ali or something like that. But I don't know how much of it is true. This is very interesting stuff. Joshua Wooden said, I know you guys are busy, but have either of you seen Matt Dillahunty run away in modern day debate? And who is your favorite atheist debater now, IP? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that was the debate right after mine. So I debated Aaron. I think that was it. That was because I did 2 debates. I think that was after the Aaron Rod debate, and then I left to hang out with some guys, Eric Hernandez and so on. And while we were there, one of the guys pulled it up on his phone and said, Matt Dillahunty just kind of stormed off. But yeah, it's not. He was, to be clear, he wasn't running away from a debate or topic. In fact, I think he went about this entirely the wrong way, but people have figured out a very, very sensitive issue to bring up around Matt. And the fact that he stormed off, I don't think I understand it. Hey guys, if you're just going to be bringing stuff up like this, and then I'm just not going to debate. But I don't know. Then, huh? It's a personal. Yeah, I don't know the details, so I kind of don't want to say what I've heard that it's about, because I don't know the details. I mean, I've heard what the details are. I wouldn't want to say what the details are without actually knowing for a fact. But yes, let's just say people have found something to mess with Matt about, and instead of what he should do is show that it's not an issue and just figure out a way around it. But once you kind of get really emotional and flip out and storm off stage, now everyone knows, oh, I know how to mess with this guy.
Okay, well, but
if there's something to mess with you about, do not let other people know it.
But am I getting this right? So was there a personal attack during the debate, which is why he left, or is that what happened?
Yeah, he was debating some. I'm not familiar with the guy, Andrew or something, and Andrew was messing with him about something, and Matt stormed off.
I mean, if there's a personal attack that took place, then I would say it's completely justified to just say, "Oh, okay, not doing this, leaving."
Well, the issue is it's pretty common on modern day debate for guys to be tossing insults at each other and so on, and then and it's kind of, from a Christian perspective, you've had atheists for years. Christians are morons, they're dumb, they're all stupid, bunch of dumb losers, blah blah blah, they don't know anything, ha ha, we're the only smart ones. And then as soon as you start insulting back, what are you doing? I'm getting off stage. So that's kind of the view. Yeah, my view is if you think someone's crossing a line, you're under no obligation to stick to the debate. If you're Matt Dillahunty and you don't want someone bringing something up, then that should be arranged ahead of time. Like, hey, if we're going to have this debate, then we're not going to talk about these things. With that said, if someone's starts coming at you with some stuff, I don't know. My view is you shouldn't let people know that you have this extremely soft spot that's going to allow people to shut you down at any point, because it's kind of over then. Because anyone that you tick off then knows exactly what to go after you on.
Oh, okay. I see. I think I understand what happened. Okay, well, I don't care. Joshua Wooden said, I know you guys are busy, but have either of you seen Matt Dilla? Everett Smooth said, David, how do you feel when you destroyed Aaron Ra? Well, don't say this here. Nobody can destroy Aaron Ra.
I mean, well, it was kind of weird because the topic was, is naturalism true? So I expected to get a defense of naturalism and then didn't get one. So I kind of rolled with it. But I thought it was interesting that because the vast majority of debates between Christians and atheists is a Christian defending something like the existence of God or something like this, and the atheist sort of attacking the position. And so it was interesting here because now it's the atheist defending a worldview, is naturalism true, and the Christian responding to it. So I thought it was going to be interesting, but yeah, I didn't really get a defense of naturalism. So, but yeah, it was kind of fun.
So what's happening here?
Nothing to do with that. What was supposed to be a debate about Christianity versus secular humanism, which one's better for the world?
Yes.
With someone who clearly showed up with an agenda that has nothing to do with that. Someone who refers to trans people as deranged lunatics who will self-terminate if you dare to question them.
How am I wrong, Matt?
Someone who misrepresents a quote from a debate where I said I wouldn't make a law about 9-year-olds having sex being legal with respect to the 9-year-olds, not that I was in any way in favor of it and that I was actually opposed to it, which I addressed during that debate. But moreover, this is not remotely an honest interaction on the front of whether or not secular humanism is valuable. Because this, when he presented his position here, has nothing to do with secular humanism. From the get-go, it's all about me. Matt thinks, Matt thinks, Matt thinks. I'm giving what Matt thinks, what Matt thinks, what Matt thinks, what Matt thinks.
Matt's position.
I came in with the Secular Humanist Manifesto. I came in with positions that aren't just that aren't merely my position.
Oh, well, as long as multiple people hold the position,
This guy's not serious and I'm leaving. James, if you want a refund, you
well,
let me
good
know.
day, sir. And I'll cover your refund, Mr. Matt.
He just said he'd cover my refund.
Cover his
Who is this douchebag, man?
Wait for it. Wait for it.
refund.
No.
Nope.
Nope. No, I'm not going to dignify a debate with someone who walked in to trash talk people and be smug and all of the things that he's being right now. He's already said he will cover my expenses. You don't have anything to worry about. This debate is over. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jackass.
Wait for it.
Who is this guy?
Wait for it.
Did you call me a jackass, Matt? Well, you and your husband have a good day, Matt. Have a wonderful day.
That's the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was fine. I mean, if you're going to take a parting shot, I will too, Matt. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't care. That's all I needed to see. I don't want to see or know more about this. But I don't know who this guy is, but pretty big jerk vibes.
Yep, you're always going to side with the atheist. All right, go ahead.
I mean, if you don't behave like that, like what is this?
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know because I didn't see everything that led up to it. So
Yeah. I mean, you can always express your views without acting like a jerk about it like that. Just, strange. Gornoise Bulldozer said David looks like one of the people that enslaved Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad, and AP looks like
that's
the
messed up.
Incredibox people. Those were Nazis, man. Those were.
There were some bad dudes, but
those were neo-Nazis. That's funny. Nehemiah Abraham Paniker said entities that try to destroy Israel, Jews throughout history, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Fatimids, Seljuk Turks, Raiders, Egyptians, Mamluks, Islamists, Germany, Spain, Arab world, etc. Nice. That's a good portfolio. For saying, hey, these guys, we survived all of them. That's my resume. That's pretty good, if you ask me.
I mean, it is, by the way, it is interesting because you go back and you look at all the groups around the Jews, like they're all eventually absorbed by some other group and now they lost their identity. Whereas, you know, even back in the day, I mean, the Jews, they were conquered by the Egyptians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Muslims, the Christians. They were just conquered by everyone. And they're like still around. That's pretty resilient.
Okay, people are commenting "Big Papa Fascist." Apparently, that's how he's known. I don't know what in the world. What is happening here? I don't know who these guys are. I don't know who these guys are. I don't know what Andrew is, or I know people are saying he's from this and that show. I have no idea. I don't know anything about these shows or these people. Just the only thing that I see here is that guy is a complete jerk, and that's all I want to know now.
You don't know. You saw a little clip. Might be the nicest guy in the world.
Definitely not. Leonor Boost, Tenzin Sergei Vladivostok, said AP New Zealand Greek MP Chloe Swarbrick got genocidal about Israel at Palestine rally in New Zealand. Mad world. I don't even want to know. Chloe Swarbrick.
Kind of a dumb name.
Yeah. Who the hell is Chloe Swarbrick? Go get it a new name. She said, "From the river to the sea" at a pro-Palestine rally. Yeah, from the river to the sea. Whoa. Get out of here. The dehydrated pie made a super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Spirit and Flesh said Elijah made fun of Baal worshippers. Bad Christian.
Well, he was pre-Christian, but I
probably
mean,
not a
you
Christian.
can find New Testament examples of people making fun of other people.
Yeah. The worst are atheists. They always make fun of people. The Hydrated Pie said Hamas TV stream was interesting and you guys' commentary was hilarious. Also, are you guys familiar with Pallywood at the Palestinian Jews? Yes, I am familiar with Pallywood. There has been a mockery for a long time. The mockery that the Palestinian people often pretend and create clips for propaganda and all of that. I am aware of that. I don't want to joke about it here and now. But yes, I'm aware of it. It is a very good industry. I don't think it's as good as Hollywood, but yeah. Angel Ferreira said, "What color is your mutar, coward?" Abdul Tate. Sankar said, "It's 656. Would AP and Dawood fight for Aisha or Ali?" Yeah. Yes, I agree. Gordon has both of the shows. Show David the acid trip hypothetical, please. No. It was something like if you took a bunch of acid and you encountered Muhammad and he said, "Hey, I need your help," what would you do? Something like that. The Dehydrated Pie said, "Let us pray, brothers, that we may one day send Nasrullah back to Allah. And as the great Farfour Dewai Islam once said, we are proud of that." I hope so. Nasrullah is the leader of Hezbollah. Sid Dave said, "Quran claims that Allah will send all non-Muslims to hell. But if you pay his believers a ransom, jizya, then Allah is fine with you believing in another God. He will still send you to hell, though." Well, yeah. I mean, everything has a price, right? And if you want to survive a little bit longer and only be punished by Allah later, then that's good, That's good. Andrew Wilson is one of the best debaters around St. Telson McDonald's. I don't know, man. I don't like the guy from what I've seen.
You saw barely anything of it. Notice I I saw the same short clip. I'd have to see. I don't know. Maybe Matt was really pushing his buttons.
I mean, from the summary that I
we
get,
should just watch it one day when we don't have anything else to discuss and just go through that, because it's only like an hour long or something like that before they
Andrew
cut out.
Wilson is a paleoconservative blood sports debater, Christian husband, father, host of The Crucible. I've heard of Crucible before, but it sounds very insignificant to me. What is The Crucible? I don't know. But I just say, as a general idea, if you spend time during the debate making it personal, I'm not a fan of it, Yeah.
Well, Base. So, I mean, he had the personal jibe after Matt called him something as he's walking away. So, as far as what Matt was talking about, it was the guy's misrepresenting his position. As far as what Matt said right there, he said he was misrepresented. It sounded like the same way they misrepresented IP, Inspiring Philosophy, where he said that he wouldn't make a law that punishes a 9-year-old for having sex, and therefore, like, Muslims ran with it and says, "You see, they're saying it's fine to have sex with a 9-year-old. They agree with us, alhamdulillah." And no, that's not what they're saying. They're saying you don't toss a kid in jail over that sort of thing. They're not in favor of laws in that sense. So it sounds like Matt was saying that he's been
and that was during the debate, right? That was during the debate, as I believe.
He was saying that the guy did it and misrepresented him
in the debate.
So that's one thing, and then the other thing was the guy referring to, I guess, trans people as whatever it was who are going to commit suicide the moment you say, and so apparently he's.
I'm not sure if that part was, if he said that during the debate or if that was outside of the debate, but Matt Dillahunty just noted that.
It sounded to me, it sounded like he was saying the guy was saying all this stuff in the debate. So I guess in his opening statement may have said, again, well, I mean, if people are interested, we could always just watch it and see what led up to it.
And if those things were said during the debate, I would say that that Matt's response is quite justifiable. If they were not said during the debate, then
it would be why'd you agree to debate the guy?
You're
just going to walk off stage.
Then I would say Matt Dillahunty shouldn't have agreed to debate him to begin with. It would be too late to then make that excuse.
As far as like the misrepresentation and so on. I mean, I don't know why that would be a big enough issue to storm off stage. It seems like it would be, you would correct the person, and then you would say, "Hey, that's not my position. Here's my actual position. So stop misrepresenting me," or something like that. It would have to be the other stuff. Oh yeah, it says no. He said it all in the debate.
He said, okay. Well, if he said those things in the debate, then that is just not a good faith discussion at all. And I think Matt's response is justified entirely.
Yeah, people are asking if I watched the debate. No, I only saw the part where Matt walked away, and that's why. Looking at what he was walking away over, and then the jab that the guy threw, you can see how it's kind of all connected. Why Matt was really upset. My view is, if you're a debater, you need to have kind of thick skin and so on. And
but you don't have to, right?
It's not. Yeah. No. I'm thinking of, as far as you being a debater, right? Mm-hmm. You being a debater. If someone's crossing lines and you don't want to interact with someone, you're under no obligation to interact with them, except for the fact that you've made an agreement to have a debate. But if you believe someone has crossed certain lines and stuff, and you want to, I mean, at one point I was thinking of walking off stage in the debate with Mohammed Hijab. Right. It was because he broke every single rule that we were both required to agree to. And it became clear he has zero respect for any of the rules. He doesn't believe he has to honor his agreements and so on. So I get that. I get saying, look, I'm done with this. I'm not interacting with this. I get that. It's just, given what the dude was saying, if Matt intends to continue debating, he should not let people know how to really get under his skin. You should not let people know that this is getting under your skin for not just for that debate, but for all future debates. Now, everyone who is going to be debating Matt knows exactly what buttons to push to enrage him. And that's not a good position to be in. So I'm just thinking in terms of, if he wants to walk off stage, he can walk off stage. That's totally his prerogative. If he wants to continue debating, it's just a generally bad idea to let people know how to really completely derail you.
Yeah. Tells him McDonald said, watch the debate. I'm not going to watch the debate. I don't want to watch the debate.
Do it.
I don't want to watch the debate.
Do it.
We don't have time anyway. It's too late. I want to leave right now.
So the entire
is
thing is
even
the
raising
entire thing is an hour. Yeah, we might want to check this out like next weekend or something like that.
Yeah,
We might want to.
maybe if the useless thing to watch, maybe we could do it. Weasel said Andrew Wilson is a Christian nationalist. I don't know anything about this. Some people call him Big Papa fascist. I see that people refer to him as a really nasty guy. I don't know anything about this guy. I can't say anything about it. So all I can say is I don't even know why we're talking about this.
Yeah, why is everyone so obsessed with this that we have we sit here and said tell us about your thought. We have not watched it.
Yeah.
All I've had is like a little 1 to 2 minute excerpt, and
all I've seen is that the guy has a
very
very bad attitude. And if you want to talk about proportionality, responding to Matt calling him a jackass with a direct attack on his family and marriage and all of that, that's a little bit of a stretch.
Wait, so it's actually short, right? Because I looked at it and I said, oh, this is an hour. So I thought Matt walked off after an hour, but no,
Yeah.
Matt walks off after like 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
That's very dishonest to say, oh, you called me a jackass? Okay, now I can say anything I want about your family. Yeah, okay. That sounds like you
guys,
just were
what
just waiting
what
for.
have we been talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Proportionality.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Shio said, isn't Allah the original white supremacist? I mean, look at who he picked as his best prophet. It's true. It is white nationalism. Grace said, Andrew said he thinks David is cool.
Well, then Andrew's cool. Anyone who says I'm cool.
Now David thinks Andrew is cool. So you want to see what
Now I'm on Andrew's side.
Cameron Schwartz said, I'm planning to convert to Judaism, but a bit scared about cutting skin off my dingle. In your opinion, is circumcision a valid religious practice? Well,
if you're converting to Judaism, yes.
Yeah, you would have to.
That's kind of part of the deal.
You'd have to cut it off too when you convert to convert to Islam. It's what people do. Although I doubt that Andrew Tate did it, because he probably thinks he's above that stuff. That's only for peasants. Free Rider said here's a tidbit of trivia. Nasrallah means she took a dump or she shat in Russian. Really? That's
There is all this weird stuff about various things, like Sarsour. Every time I mentioned Linda Sarsour at some point, everyone's like, "Hey, that means cockroach," or "That means insect," "That means roach."
She also made a tweet a long time ago which said, "Yes, my last name means cockroach, and yes, I'm proud of it." That's an actual tweet from her. Yuri Cohen said, "You may be a cunning linguist, but I'm a master debater. I thank you, Austin Powers."
These are your fans, AP. This is what your fans post. This ties into what we were talking about earlier as far as limits on free speech. You have to have a responsible population. If you have a system of super cats, which they go on the screen, these have to be handled responsibly, and not by a bunch of sicko perverts who constantly talking about the eyes being the leather strap of the anus.
Well. Who talked about that? Huh? Who said that? Huh? No, but it's good because this channel is like it's allowing everyone to have a free flow of ideas. That's what it is. And this is the free flow of ideas that you see, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. Sorgo Vasfan said, "Oh yeah, Nasrallah. Really? Is that really a Russian thing? Nasrallah. Does that really mean that? That's interesting."
Well, after about 8 bottles of vodka, anything can mean anything, AP.
Nasrallah. That's what Nasrallah. I can read that. Gorno's Bulldozer said, "Please look it up. It's a real bop." You mean the Bashar Assad song? I will check it out. Sid Dare said, "If I convert to Islam and leave it 2 minutes later, am I also an apostate then? And Moses can execute me. I would like to join apostate prophet community." Yeah. No, there's actually some discussion on that. There is disagreement on that in Islamic jurisprudence, where they have argued that the length of your conversion or the purpose and all of that, some may be considered or taken into consideration, upon which then it would be decided if you should be killed or not. So there is
some believe in requirements for an authentic shahada. Like they'll have lists of requirements for your shahada. You're reciting the creed to convert to Islam. They have requirements for what is considered an authentic shahada. But in a and at the same time, according to Islam, we're all Muslims. We all start off as Muslims, so we're all ex-Muslims.
Alhamdulillah, he said it. He spoke the
Hey,
truth.
David Wood.
He said we are all Muslims, you see. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And we will be back again. Tomorrow we are live on your channel, right?
Tomorrow we are going to be going through Ayaan Hirsi Ali's article on why she's now a Christian who has gone from Muslim to atheist to Christian, and getting AP's reaction in case if we think of any other Muslim who became an atheist who should become a Christian. If we can think of anyone, we'll see what happens.
She was never a real atheist to begin with. No real atheist would leave atheism. She was never a real atheist. That's not real atheism. She didn't leave atheism. Atheism left her.
AP was an atheist before he read the article, and he's still an atheist. It only increased his atheist iman.
Reading Ayaan Hirsi Ali's article on why she became a Christian only made my iman in atheism stronger. Alhamdulillah. All right. Sid Day said, finally, Super Jet, every Muslim seeking Western citizenship should be forced to draw a cartoon of Mo post mugshot holding the cartoon on their social media profile. It's very Islamophobic. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Yeah, I'm not for that particular requirement, but I think there should be some wiser requirements than there currently are.
Yeah, I still think that people who want to talk about the Israel-Palestine conflict should be put in education camps where they have to undergo a forced education on the conflict. Yeah. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Hope I'll see you again tomorrow. We will be back here with David. I'll probably go live again on Monday in the morning because I have nothing better to do than spend my time here talking about things that, yeah, anyway. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you again. Have a fantastic day. And as always,
I don't buy your Ella.
How about no?
As always,
stay away from Islam.